On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick will have to wow you with non-Book of Boba Fett content as they try to navigate the Star Wars without an active show or film to get worked up about. Worry not though, as they have some juicy Kenobi series leaks to discuss, as well as some updates on a secret, unannounced Star Wars project. They'll also talk about John Williams' return to Star Wars, as well as Ray Stevenson joining the Ahsoka cast. Of course, the show will end with this week's fan segment, complete with responses to the question of the week, and the latest batch of Star Wars fan artists to honor. Punch it, Chewie!
Hey, now everybody! Yes, we knew the mics were not on. This is a new thing we're doing where we decide to kind of do the pre-show as the real show is airing on YouTube. Don't forget. We are like, I mean, again, they're one of the most professional Star Wars fan outfits out there. There's a reason why we have a very tight-knit community of not too many fans, and it's because of this type of stuff. This is what you get, right? I should probably also unmute Nick because you just did not hear what he said.
Hi.
You know what I mean? Yes.
Hello. What's up, everybody?
Yeah, the radio silence was on purpose, and it wasn't on purpose the next time when I was talking and then Nick wasn't talking, but now...
That had me in timeout. Yes. I said some naughty words prior to us going live, and that was it.
That's right. But hey, we're back. No Book of Boba Fett to talk about today, although we still have one segment dedicated to the book, and that's the fan segment, but we'll get to there. Naturally, that's our ending segment, but you know, I was trying to squeeze a little more juice out of the Book of Boba Fett when it comes to the question of the week, which we do every week on Tuesdays via Instagram at Star Wars Time Show. So if you want to get in on the fun and you know, air your grievances or your joys about Star Wars, that's what the question of the week is all about. So no book stuff to talk about today. It's kind of sad. Nothing to break down. It means we should get out of here a lot quicker. So that's good, especially today, because I'm definitely not operating on all four cylinders. Yes, baby. I got a V4 in this little chassis.
Nice.
And you know, I was talking with Nick earlier, and this is nothing I'm proud about. Maybe some people have some laughs at it, but it's like, you know, when you get into your 40s and you're having these moments still, it makes you question what the fuck you're doing with your life. But yesterday, kind of impromptu, it was warm in my part of the country. So, you know, when you live in the north and it's abnormally warm in the winter, it makes you do stuff you don't usually do. So we had a little bit of a kind of a block party almost in my neighbor's driveway, and you know, he busted out the bourbon, and you know, 3 hours later I had myself 3 bourbons. So you know, I wasn't sitting there getting crazy like the college days and slamming them down trying to get all fucked up before going to the club. No, just having some drinks, making fun of neighbors that weren't there. It was fun, all right? It was just adults being adults, letting the kids run around, poke each other in the eye with sticks, that type of shit, you know, playing in traffic. But we were having a good time. But as I was telling Nick, it's like this is the second time in about 2 months where I don't know what the combination is. I mean, I guess you could argue 3 bourbons over 3 hours is still a lot for one person to drink. And yeah, you know, it was like 48%, so it was, you know, it hit you a little bit, but it wasn't a full-on Kentucky tummy hugger, if you will. But, you know, once the night started to wind down, we were all headed back to our hovels for dinner. It's just kind of like the story I talked about Christmas Day, where just like a light switch going off, my brain turned off. I mean, some people call it a blackout. Whatever, I'll run with it. But it was another night, Nick, where I didn't remember eating dinner. We ordered my favorite Chinese food. I didn't remember eating it all. And as I told you beforehand, I definitely ate it because I've been shitting it out all day in addition to all the other stuff that I must have been eating when I didn't know that I was eating last night. So, you know, like I said, going on 42 here, waking up still and realizing that your brain stopped for a few hours the night before, and it just bums me out. Like I had fun going through it, but obviously not fun afterwards. And when I get like that, I get a little chippy to the wife. The kid was awake, so it wasn't like screaming at her and that type of shit. Just being a dick, you know, kind of being a drunk dick, not sloppy, but just not me. Or not who I want to be. So today I've been doing a lot of reflection, like what the fuck is going on? What is it? Like what is the combination? Is it time? Is it the amount of bourbon? But there's something going on in the brain where it's like it hits a meter and just says, all right, you no longer will have memories moving forward until you sober up. So I don't know, whatever. It is what it is. Can't take it back. I had fun while I was doing it, but I've definitely been in a reflective type of mindset all morning here. Well, hell, since like 4 when I woke up for the second time going, Jesus, I did it again. And this is where I know like things are goofy because I keep a digital journal. I use this app called Day One. And this isn't like artsy fartsy stuff where I'm like, oh, today my mind feels like this. No, I do it mostly for the kid and experiences we had. Just, you know, I have something to go back to. But I open up my journal, Nick, because I'm trying to figure out, all right, I'm trying to piece together the night. What the fuck was going on? And here were my last entries. Okay?
Okay, let's see.
What the fuck happened with my life? Fuck? Question mark.
Oh. Oof.
Then a carriage return, and then just fuck. Another carriage return. Well, we all fucked it up, and no one knows. A carriage return. Seriously bad night. No clue what happened at all towards dinner time. All right, so if you're a fan of Howard Stern and you know Beetlejuice, I was having like some Beetlejuice thoughts right there, especially well, we all fucked it up and no one knows. That is true. That is true. So it's like, and then another one from one of the neighbors that was involved. His was a good one too. What did he say here? Yeah, his was, whose idea was it to open bourbon? So this was last night at 7. And then it took me 2 hours to reply. I said, yo, I'm a mess. So agreed. I don't believe I ate dinner, but they're saying I did. So it's like, come on, son. What are you doing? Get your life together. And it's like, I know it makes me sound like a lush, but I wasn't like hammering them. I mean, I drink Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a few beers here or there. It's not really my thing, so I don't know. I won't bore you with it or you know tell you how to live your life. But I definitely have some sort of issue going on with more than 2 bourbons. So I think that's going to have to start to become the rule there. No more than 2. It doesn't matter how long you're drinking, but no more than 2 bourbons, because once you get past that, you start getting into the twilight zone.
Yeah, start getting into scary territory. Yeah, I mean, my weekend or my week, it was not like that.
Well, good. I'm glad. I feel like such a fucking loser today, but oh well. I shall carry on.
I did not have one of those moments. I have 2 things. One real quick. So we have been going through the saga of Nick and Nick's house for a long time here on the Star Wars Time Show.
Yeah, I mean, really, this is like predates the show. I mean, even before we made the cutover.
Yeah.
You know, this has been kind of in the works, the saga of Nick's house and how it went all bad in 2020 and then got even more fucked up. And then things were going good now in 2021. But so now listen to where he's at with that. So, this is the same house that they bought brand new. Remember during the show, Taylor would be falling through the roof or toilets would be, dropping out of windows. So go ahead, Nick.
So fortunately for us, this isn't a bad thing. So we've been in our house now for about 2 years. It'll be 2 years in April. And the good thing is that the housing market in Austin is crazy. There's a lot of influx of new people coming in from California specifically. So we've made a lot of money off of our house, to put it a certain way. So now we're testing out the possibility of selling our house and then doing another new build where we will be living in our same community, but just in a house that fits us a little bit better. It's a bit nicer. Currently, our house is in a situation where we've already kind of maxed out all the space that we have. So we're looking to move into something that has a little bit more area. So, Taylor can have an office to her own. Yeah.
Was it to the east side or to the west side? I forget.
I think it's to the east side from the Jeffersons. But yeah, I mean, that's what we're thinking about doing now. Obviously, there's still a lot to go through before we get to that finish line, if we can get to the finish line. But that's kind of the thing that we're doing now, is potentially selling this house that we've had for 2 years and then getting another new build house. So we'll see how everything goes.
I mean, it just, like, the prospect of having to pack all your shit up again, that doesn't just make you want to sit in a corner and shake, like in the fetal position.
Honestly, it wasn't really that bad.
Well,
time.
I always kind of project that everyone's an asswipe like me and has a basement like mine, where there's pictures covering every inch of the wall. There's hundreds of figures. I mean, just the thought of one day having to pack up my collection gives me anxiety, like big time.
Yeah, no, we don't have any large scale collections like that or anything that's very difficult to pack up. In fact, we were talking about it, and like, we haven't really added that much in terms of like new things since we got into the house. I mean,
that's a bonus.
Yeah, I got a couple of bookshelves behind me now, but that's not that big of a deal. They're very easy to move. And then we also just have like, the only other new things are like dinner tables and then like some accent chairs and stuff, and that's about it. So the good thing is that it won't be like too hard to to pack everything up. So yeah. And then the other piece of news that I have is this came in the mail today. For those of you staring at the screen or watching us on YouTube, you will see the Force Effects Elite Rey Skywalker blade. And honestly, this is pretty nice. I mean, again, like, these are kind of chunky. You can see if you're looking at the live stream, I'm holding it.
Is that all steel there, Nick? Is the hilt steel or is there plastic?
All metal. This is all
metal. That's how the Darksaber
was.
They're pretty legit.
It's heavy as fuck, super heavy. And what's interesting about it is it has an actual cloth wrap around here for your hands. So that's really cool. And just like the Leia one that I got from the Galaxy's Edge, it has a replaceable top to it. So you can actually have the blade installed with one and not have the blade installed with the other.
Nick, no Allen wrench required? Because I have to literally break out an Allen wrench if I want to take the Darksaber blade in and out.
Not that I can see now. So I actually just opened it. So I haven't really messed around with it too much, but the way that this is looking, it's a simple screw on, no Allen wrench required. The switch for the blade is actually on this little middle piece too. So you turn it and it turns it on and off. So just like it was in the movie.
Rechargeable battery, all that jazz.
I believe so. Rechargeable battery, yes. And I mean, it's well constructed. It looks pretty awesome. I mean, I know that if we broke this down size wise, it would probably be a bit bigger than the actual screen use one. But it does feel nice to hold in your hand. Like, it's hefty. It feels like it's hefty, but a lot of good construction behind it. So very cool stuff there. It wasn't actually supposed to get here initially until May 4th. That was the release date at first, but got here quite a bit.
Was this another Amazon buy? I mean, were they looking at your account going, you know what, we fucked this kid over so many times, let's just send it to him early, why not?
Yeah, no, it was an Amazon buy. So yeah.
Because they still have your Revan lightsaber, right? I mean, that's still hanging out at Amazon warehouse somewhere. That's
tucked away in the same warehouse where the Ark of the Covenant and all that shit from Indiana Jones is. So but still haven't gotten that. Probably won't ever get that again, because I don't even know if they still sell at retail. I think that's only an aftermarket thing. So that was awesome. and no other collectibles coming for me anytime soon. This was the last one that was on the docket until something really catches my eye that I'll order again. But yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a nice little surprise to get that.
So what do you got now? What are you up to, like 6-7 blades at this point? I mean, I see at least 4 behind you.
Yeah, so I have like a really dinky like Skywalker family blade that actually came with that Jedi Challenges AR like game.
Oh yeah.
That's not anything special though. But I do have 1 custom blade, so that's 2. I have the Kylo blade, that's 3. I have my Galaxy's Edge blade 4, and then now this Rey one 5, and then the Palpatine blade. So that's
man, all those
6
sequel
blades.
trilogy lightsabers. You're such a loser.
I am.
Disney
I'm a
Star
loser.
Wars.
But also like I mean, I like the Force Effects Elite ones, because previously the Force Effects ones you couldn't remove the blade. There was a lot of issues with it. But if they start releasing some of the Force Effects Elite like original trilogy blades, then I'll definitely get those as well. I haven't looked to see if there are any available, but that was my big issue with all of the Force Effects before. It's like, okay, awesome, here's your saber, and it's just got a fucking giant stick attached to it at all times.
Yeah.
So you can't like, it's almost impossible to wear, even if you're going on like a Halloween party, to a Halloween party.
Yeah, you gotta lug the whole damn thing with you.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to do that. All I want is the hilt. Yeah, so it's nice that you can remove them now, so that may spur me to buy a couple more if I see
I
some
like
OT
the
blades
new
that I like.
rechargeable battery system's pretty slick too. I mean, again, I don't know if you're going to need an Allen wrench to get to it, but that's how the Darksaber was constructed. But it's better than having to worry about removing AA so they don't explode. Because a lot of my original Master Effects, or whatever the fuck they are, forgot for years. You open them up, batteries have corroded, acids everywhere, and you got to get in there and brush it away and hope that the connectors are still clean to put some new juice to it. But yeah, they've definitely improved, and that's probably why they've only gone up in price too, right? I mean, these are usually $150 to $200, or $250 maybe.
I think this one was $200, I believe, when I first, because I pre-ordered this one. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, it was like $227 total. Hey.
You get what you pay for, right, Nick?
You get what you pay for. And this one is also the one that comes with the color changing blade as well. So the blade will change colors between yellow and blue. So pretty cool little addition there. So really enjoy it.
When you have you ignited it yet? Did you know how in the movie, which was kind of neat, when she ignites it, you can kind of see it's almost like blue and green making the yellow
flash. Yeah. I haven't ignited it yet. So like literally I just opened it before we went live, and I haven't even taken the other like parts of it out of the box.
Got you.
You can actually still see the box on the live stream kind of sitting off to the side. So I still have some unboxing to do once the show is over.
It's nothing better. I mean, even as you get older, where some of us are at 40s, 50s, and it kind of gets lost with Amazon deliveries showing up every day. But when a new package shows up, it is still one of the best feelings in life. When you know it's something cool and it's not just groceries or cat litter or shit like that. So
a mini Christmas for sure. So
yeah, I finally unboxed last Friday. The kid had out, so we got into an adventure, and she had seen the Razor Crest HasLab box. I was like, ooh, when are you gonna open that? I was like, all right, maybe Friday, because it requires a little bit of building, and we all know that my patience for that type of shit is not the best. So Friday we were out, took her to swimming lessons, and we were at Walmart rolling through the clearance section. Lo and behold, they have the Mission Fleet Razor Crests in clearance. And I'm like, you know what? I'm getting her one, because if I'm opening my big one, she's going to have a little one. So there you go. So Daddy figured out a way to spend $40 that I didn't need to spend, because, we opened it and then she saw mine. She's like, oh, yours is so much better. It's bigger. But I'll tell you what. I didn't bring the crest down here. I mean, it's too big to even really get on camera, but it is hands down one of the greatest pieces in my collection already. Like, they did not fuck around. That's what the HasLabs should be about. That type of shit. I mean, Nick, it is. I mean, it's not a 1-to-1. I mean, it's a 1-to-1 recreation at the 1/18th scale size. I mean, they even weathered the hull. Like it doesn't look like a new toy out of the package. The one thing I was not a huge fan of, but I did it because you have to. You got to dress the set. But putting all the fucking guns into the gun
in
case,
those little spots,
Nick. I'm talking like. I don't have that big of ham hands, but even still, trying to jam the shit in there, because you like have to go in through the side panel or the side hatch, and then two hands are hitting into each other, and then one of the fucking guns falls and gets stuck in a crack, and you're like, I did good. I didn't freak out. I didn't throw anything. I didn't break any of the little guns, but once I got every single one on there, I feel like I accomplished, it was one of the biggest feats I've pulled off in 2022, because not easy. Like I was like, Charlie, get some tweezers, and we were trying tweezers, and I was trying to like jam her little arms in there, and still you had to be so precise that I would imagine if this was me a year or two ago, the old figure arts Luke getting smashed off my wall after I threw a heater because his hand wouldn't go on. I think things could have got ugly for the Razor Crest, but
could have gotten out of hand.
Yeah. I took a few deep breaths, focused. I mean, you can see it. I have like hack marks all over my hand if you're on the live stream, and that's from jamming my hand into the crest and being determined to place every gun where they belong, because there is a hook, Nick, for every single gun. So you're like, go these little, and they're like this big. I mean, we're not talking 1/12 scale. I mean, some of them you could easily lose. They're so tiny. I mean, they had his grenades. They were like the size of
those things have to be like that.
I mean, they're like size of little baby ball bearings, and you had to like stick those 3 of them in a row and get them onto their hooks. It was crazy, but got it done. It's a beautiful collectible. I do feel bad for anyone that fucked around and didn't invest in it, or for those that live in Australia had to pay millions of dollars for it, because it is a beautiful piece. We've been sharing a lot of the photography already from the community. I believe Nick chose Trevor's Razor Crest shot to be honored later on the show in the top 5, and I do hope to get out, because this is, unless you can build sets like Trevor, this is a piece that needs to be shot outdoors. It's just it needs that space to breathe. You really can't do the HasLab Razor Crest justice in a confined setting unless you're at 1/6 shooter. So it's definitely made me happy. I'm glad I decided to keep it. And there was a part of me like, hey, these motherfuckers are spending $1,000 on eBay. And but no, I opened it, and it is a thing of beauty, and it has motivated me to try to get out there and shoot some 1/18 scale for the first time.
Hey, that's awesome, man. I mean, I know that we've all gone along with your journey on like your waxes and wanes of toy photography, so I'm glad that this is giving you a little bit of a spark.
It's just so cool. I mean, even sitting it on the stand, that was one of the stretch goals. It looks like it's taken off. I think one of my favorite features, and I imagine other owners would agree, was the way they did the engine lights. All right, it's like this translucent orange plastic, but there's also kind of like an eyelet on the bottom side, so it'll catch light reflecting up. And depending on where you have the Razor Crest, and depending on the time of day, you can catch it at certain angles, and those fucking engines look like they're red hot. So I don't know. Awesome. I dig that type of stuff. So great work there from, I know Hasbro's been kind of dragged through the mud, and deservedly so, for a lot of stuff going on with the Black Series line. But my goodness, what they're doing with the OGs, the 1/18 scale, beautiful. All right, buddy. Well, we don't have any like current active TV to talk about, nothing to break down, no movies to pine over, but we still got some content for you. We carried a few over from last week because we knew things were going to go long, and we also wisely looked into the future using the Force, and we're like, oh fuck, we're gonna have to like figure shit out for the next 12 weeks until Kenobi comes back and people actually want to come back and listen to us break down some actual live and dynamically happening Star Wars. But we got some good stuff today. We're going to talk about some unannounced Star Wars projects with cool working titles like Grammar Rodeo. The Kenobi stuff just keeps flowing. Like we said last week, it's 2 weeks ago when they put the book to bed, you started to get this deluge of official information. Plus, the leakers are starting to come out more and paint more of a picture of what we may be getting at. We've had people claim exclusives on an exclusive that we ran in September, but at this point in time, who fucking cares? It's like I just can't. I can't try to chase this shit down anymore and worry about it. But I think it was LRM online or someone literally like, oh, Darth Vader and Kenobi will fight more than once in Kenobi. It's like, no fucking shit. We broke that in September. So thank you for stealing our thunder, not linking to us. Go to hell. All right. All these people can go fuck themselves. There's some other weird shit going on. Like, I don't want to get too personal, and I know you don't pay attention to this stuff, but I see on Instagram some Star Wars fan page has pitched for Star Wars Celebration to do a toy photography panel. And we were not approached about it. To either be a moderator, I should not be on a toy photography panel as a photographer, but you'd think a Star Wars site that since its inception has dedicated part of its weekly fucking show and every fucking day of the week to toy photography, Star Wars toy photography, that maybe we would have been considered to at least be asked to moderate. No. I see this on Trevor's page and I reply, I was like, well, I could have thought of a better moderator, and nothing against the girl doing it, but this is what we fucking do.
Kind of what we do. It's kind of our wheelhouse.
And Nick, you know who the photographers are? 1/6 shooter, Work More or Less, and Black Series. 2 of the 3 have been on our show talking about toy photography before these other Star Wars fan pages figured out, like, oh shit, this is like a thing now. This toy photography is like a thing. We've been doing it since 2018. You cunts!
Oh man,
where is the respect? You motherfuckers! Oh, whiny Matt. Here it is. Now you know why I'm a whiny fuck. That's going down. I got people that I'm featuring after I'm being tagged to feature, and then they're yelling at me because I didn't feature right. It's getting to the point, Nick, where I'm like, fuck it. Let's just be a Star Wars show.
Yeah.
I don't need the fucking hour plus work every morning to look through these goddamn shots that make me depressed that I suck at toy photography, trying to make people happy. And then we're being accused of, hey, you should edit clips. And then we both, it's like, fuckhead, you tagged me to be featured.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cut up your content like it's mine. You either get featured or you don't.
Sorry. It's our show. Yeah, we're not going to edit stuff a particular way.
And the other thing, sorry, Nick, I want to clarify. None of this ire is being directed at the 3 artists, okay? It's not like Trevor or Zay or Jason were the ones like, oh yeah, don't pick Matt because it'll be funny to watch him get all fucking angry on the show. It just, no one knows about us. No one fucking stumps for us when it matters, and this is what you get. And it's like, I hope the panel gets passed. I really do for the photographers. But what the fuck? I mean, what else do we need to do to get in the graces with these magical Star Wars fan outlets out there to be in the know like everyone else and get plugs and cross promos and audience build-ups? What do we need to do? Do I need to quit swearing? Do we need to get on here and just, talk Poppy Dugs and ice cream all the time? Like, oh, I love Star Wars. Nick, do you love? Yeah, I love Star Wars too.
Love it too.
What else do you love? Oh, I love Star Wars. Okay, yeah, I love Star Wars too. What do you love, Nick? I love. Okay, I mean, what is it? I don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't get it. Like we've got a very dedicated group of fans, and I love all you motherfuckers. But outside of that, we're pieces of shit. It's like we have this nuclear waste symbol on the show. Do not touch, do not eat, do not consume, it will kill you. I don't get it. But that toy thing was like, what a fucking slap in the face. We really are jokes. We are fucking jokes. It's like, give me a break. Star Wars Newsnet moderating toy photography, and like the pitch is like, ooh,
who's doing it?
Toy photography. Again, they're in the club. They're in the club with all the other ones that are fucking cool, apparently, in Star Wars fan content creation land. Oh, motherfucker! And this page is like Star Wars fan creates. What the fuck do we do every week? This is why I'm considering stopping the features, not as a punishment, so people know we're a goddamn real Star Wars podcast. When they look at the page, it's not just all this awesome art. It's our fucking articles. It's the podcasts. Because that's all these other fuckers do. Motherfuck.
Well, at least we don't have to pay for tickets to go to Celebration.
Thank God. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's like, fuck you. I mean, just, you know what? Fuck it. And this is sour grapes, and I do sound like a whiny little bitch, but who cares? I'm a real human, damn it.
People have feelings. We have feelings, too.
It's just, man, it's like, come on, really? You're going to take that from us, too? I know people bum our fucking speculations, bum our exclusive with no credit, but now you're going to take our goddamn segment that we started and talk about how this is an up-and-coming art form? Up-and-coming? It's been going on for over 6 years, you fucks! I sound like Mel Gibson on all those racist calls he was making all those years ago. Like, why don't you just shut up and below me? All right.
Man,
sorry.
I wonder why we don't get put on public panels.
I get it, man. Trust me. I know why we are, do not touch. I get it. But that shouldn't that like make us stand out a bit? It's not just this. I've looked at some of these other shows. It's just like, oh yeah, woo hoo, yay everybody, yay life, yay this. All right, we're a little edgier. So what? I don't know. I give up. I give up. But I think I am definitely reconsidering how the features are being done. And this is not like some backlash to the community, because it's not their fault. I mean,
it's a lot of work that you do for nothing, literally. Right. Like we don't get paid to do it. I mean, you scour through stuff every day and post it. So,
bro, it's at minimum an hour of my day every day. And yes, it's helped the Instagram page get some followers. I completely understand that. I'm not bitching about the artists. It's just like, oh, there they are, the fucking forgotten ones. As always, the Star Wars Time Show. Toy photography. It's an up-and-coming art form in the community. Yeah, if you haven't been paying attention! Okay. All right. I'm good. You ready?
Let's get into our first topic this week.
And it's even now I feel like, I just reinforced the belief that I'm psychotic, and that's okay. But that's why people come to the Star Wars Time Show. At least a few of you that come and decide to stay. Like I said, we appreciate you. Join the Discord. Links in Instagram. But I'm definitely not for everyone, and I get that. But I used to think that was kind of something that makes you just stand out. But these days, it seems like, you gotta march to the orders, be good, don't swear, don't scream, and just be positive. Yeah. Woo. Okay. So I'm going to try to deliver this first segment with nothing but positivity. All right. Hey, Nick, did you hear about that unannounced Star Wars project listed in Production Weekly? What do you think about that?
There's a lot of things to think about it, but I mean, it could be a show, it could be a movie, it could be a lot of things. But yes, for those of you who are out of the loop, there was an untitled Star Wars project that was literally listed as Untitled Star Wars Project, working title, Grammar Rodeo, in the Production Weekly magazine that just went out recently. I mean, there's not too much meat here. I'm going to be honest. Like, we can speculate, we can say a lot of stuff, but honestly, there weren't any actors listed. There was nothing listed about.
We've got a follow up coming, Nick. The next one adds a little meat to the bone. But you're right. I mean, it's
adds
just like
a little color.
It's like, oh yeah, this untitled Star Wars project. And what they mean by that, this is one of these that I believe this is an unannounced. Like this probably wasn't on the board from December of 20 or whatever that was at this point in time. Yeah, and it is a working title of Grammar Rodeo and supposedly shooting this spring. But like I said, we do have some follow up here, and Nick, I don't know if you probably haven't, but sometimes I pretend like you scour the stuff or maybe come across it. But there's been a lot of heat around what's his name, John Watts. So he the guy that directed Spider-Man: No Way Home. Yes. Watts something. But apparently he's getting attached to this Grammar Rodeo thing, and a lot of people are thinking that it is indeed going to be for Disney Plus, and that it may focus within the High Republic era. Yeah.
So, I mean, still a lot of speculation. But so, I mean, we can kind of wrap in the next article with it, because that gives more color to it.
Totally.
So from what we're seeing here, and this is from one of the other leaker outfits, they're basically saying that there's a casting call out for these characters.
For this Grammar Rodeo project.
Yeah, for the unannounced Grammar Rodeo working title project. Wyatt, 11-year-old male, any ethnicity. Wyatt yearns for great adventures, but finds his attention easily diverted. He wishes to be the hero in any situation he finds himself in. Wyatt is a series regular. These are probably not the actual names. I would guess these are just names of characters that they're using as placeholders, perhaps.
Yeah, it's weird because, Nick, I think this is a site that broke the Drash and Scad leak from, a year ago.
Yeah, from a while ago.
And they actually ended up maintaining those names. But you are right. Usually these casting sheets, they don't go all out and provide the actual character name. But as you're going to hear here, there's a pattern to these characters.
Exactly.
Young
kids.
Young
kids. Next up, Ned, 11 years old.
Ned's a great Star Wars name, right? Jedi Ned.
Yeah, Ned. Man. I mean, you don't remember old Jim Skywalker, right?
Yeah. Old Jimbo Skywalker of the less talked about Skywalker family tree. He stayed back on Tatooine and manned the moisture farm.
Yeah, he was the one who was running the whole operation after Luke left. But anyway, Mr. Ned, 11 years old, male, any ethnicity, says Ned is described as Wyatt's bashful best friend. Ned is kind with a massive heart, but also tends to be a rules follower. That being said, Ned often finds himself pulled into Wyatt's adventures. Ned is described as a series regular as well. Next up, Faye, 12 years old, non-binary or female, any ethnicity. Faye is described as rebellious and extroverted, but at 12 years old, they already have a chip on their shoulder. Faye is described as a series regular. And the last one here is Kylie, 12-year-old female, any ethnicity. Kylie is Faye's best friend and is described as serious, intelligent, and keeps her emotions guarded behind a wall. Kylie is also a series regular. So these sound like potentially Padawan?
I like what Trevor put in the live stream chat. Ned, now that's a name I have not heard for a long time. This old Ned instead of old Ben.
Ben.
I think you're hitting on to something here, and I actually I didn't quite bold it out to make it important, but the same site also reported that's looking for a male actor in his 30s to 40s for a series lead. So if this Grammar Rodeo is indeed set during the High Republic era, and these kids are young Jedi, well then this person would kind of be their master.
Their master, one of their teachers. I mean, it kind of makes sense if you think about like what the High Republic era was, as we know it now, and as it's been described either in interviews or the books that are out right now. It was a time of expansion in the galaxy, and specifically Wyatt's explanation. Yearns for great adventure and stuff like that. It was a time of like the galaxy was actively expanding. The known galaxy, I should say, was actively expanding.
What character comes to mind for Wyatt's description? Like one we've seen before. Do you see a little bit of Luke in him? At least farm boy Luke?
100%. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Great adventures, easily easily distracted. Yeah, that sounds like Luke Skywalker to me.
I mean, that's what Yoda was always chewing him out for, right? Like, hey, you're never in the now. You're always looking here, there, future, this, that.
Yeah. I mean, what I would really love to see, I mean, this is probably going to be High Republic, but this would be really fucking awesome if we got like a Jedi Academy during the sequel trilogy time, like Luke's sequel trilogy Jedi Academy. And like we pick up with not Luke being the teacher, but, you know, maybe a Kyle Katarn or something like that, you know, a character that would be like Kyle Katarn that would fill that 30s to 40s series lead. So while I think that High Republic is likely going to be what it is, I think it would be super awesome if we got some an inside look at Luke's Jedi Academy during the sequel trilogy. But that's just me. Yeah,
I don't know. It's like at this point, my friend, I think High Republic has started to hit pretty well for people that can read and aren't sloths like you and I with that type of stuff. and you know, if it's popping for some people and they're enjoying it now, it's in its second phase, third phase. I don't know. I've completely just kind of disengaged from High Republic stuff. Not it's like whatever. Who cares? We got, you know, we got shit for me to get all upset about and scream about on the show. We can't dedicate stuff to actual Star Wars content. But what the point I'm trying to make is, like, eventually you got to start looping in the lazy people like you and me into this High Republic era, because this is 100% like Disney's stuff. Yeah. This is nothing from George. This is everything they've kind of whipped up on their own with this story group, I think, led by Charles Soule and the other writers that are regulars in the comic book and book space. So eventually, Nick, they have to try to loop us into this era. I know the Acolyte was going to kind of bookend at the end and maybe show some of the downfall or the beginning of the Galactic Republic. But it's probably time to start getting some moving pictures for those of us that don't care to read the books or the comic books. And I'm looking forward to it if it is a High Republic, because we should get a whole different presentation of the Order, what it meant to be a Jedi, just how the galaxy functions. You got to remember, at this point in time, the Outer Rim territories are kind of like the Wild West that the Jedi are helping to settle. So I think there's a ton of potential just to do new. I mean, the only retread we could potentially get in this, and you know they would have to do it, would be throwing in, you know, some Yoda quips here or there as he ascends to the Grand Master seat.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree that it's probably best for them to do High Republic. I mean, the sequel trilogy still has bad taste in people's mouths. So if we went back there, you would probably see a decline in viewership. I mean, the reality of fact is anything that's going to be outside of established OT timeline or within the Mandoverse is probably going to see a dip in viewership. Let's just be real, because that's
speaking
how
of viewership, and we forgot to bring this up last week, but as we were trying to figure out or indirectly figure out new ways to share our posts on Instagram, which I think Nick settled on a design so I can move on to YouTube thumbnails next and eat up a week of time, because I suck at design, but once I start trying to pretend, it's hard to stop doing. It's like, ooh, I moved this box a couple pixels and changed the tint. What do you think, Nick? Does this make it better? Eventually, I was like, dude, just fucking say X, Y, Z so I can like move on. And we figured that out. But I have no clue what I was talking about. So carry on.
Oh, yeah. No, we were talking about the viewership, and the detail that we left out last week was that for those of you who thought that Book of Boba Fett was killing Star Wars and is terrible, it had a 30% higher.
Yeah, it was like 38% more people tuned in for the finale than the finale of season 2 of Mando. And
season 2 of Mando.
You know, you could probably explain that away. We're talking almost season 2 of Mando would have ended in the end of 2020. So you're talking over a year's time to add new subscribers, which could have led to some of the bump too. But it definitely was a show that people were tuning into, whether you like the way it played out or not. But it was doing. I mean, it closed better than Mando season 2, with the Luke moment. So that's not too shabby for the Book of Boba Fett. Still no news if they're going to get another season, and I honestly think that they're going to let that lie for a bit and hope that the little storm cloud that was hovering over the Book of Boba Fett and its 7 episodes moves on. But we all know, I mean, people in this fandom never forget, right? They never forget. It took me well over a decade, lots of Star Wars time show therapy with Nick, and the excellent conclusion of the Clone Wars for me to finally get past my anger for the prequels. So I get it. It is a process that takes time for some of us to heal. But I don't know. I kind of wish we didn't have to be kind of inundated with everyone's opinions anymore, because it does kind of muck up the fandom. And, we usually end up talking more about how much fans hate than what we actually enjoy about Star Wars anymore. It's a very odd dynamic that this fandom has gotten itself into since TLJ. It's like TLJ is that moment in the fandom, a true demarcation point where it's like, the schism.
After that, it became okay to shit on anything and everything, apparently. But
right.
I mean, there are some valid criticisms with the Book of Boba Fett, and then there's just flame like usual. But I do agree with you, Matt, that I think that, this is the safest time period to work in now, especially if you're not going to include characters that you're familiar with.
What can people get angry about with High Republic, unless they're like hardcore book fans and they messed up a character look or something? But like, outside of it, hey, this isn't my Star Wars. This is more that Disney woke shit. Look, they said non-binary or female. Yeah, so that'll probably be the latch on, right? The wokeness of Disney and its approach to Star Wars. That's probably
going to be it. And I mean, honestly, if that's what bothers people, then I'm sorry that bothers you, but you don't have to watch it. But I'm excited to see some High Republic stuff. It's been the publishing initiative itself has been live for over a year, almost 2, I think, at this point.
Brando is reporting in the live stream, though, that the last book was terrible. Quoting, it was like reading the story of the Titanic. So it's like,
have you seen the movie Titanic? That was the highest grossing film for almost 30 years.
People like that stuff, I guess.
I must say, saying that as a negative point actually doesn't help your case at all. But
some people might be like, "Oh, cool, Titanic. Let's check it out."
Titanic.
Titanic in space. Let's go for it.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm all about it. But it's an area that we don't know anything about. It's an area of a lot of of basically Jedi, as you could almost look at them as kind of like royalty,
superstars for sure, like rock stars,
superstars of the galaxy. And then everything that's going on in the background with the the dark side and everything like that, it's like this slow build towards what we eventually know happens with Palpatine and the fall of the Republic. There's a lot of things to like about it. I like the idea of the High Republic kind of having this Wild West feel to it, because there's so much exploration happening. There's so much new discovery happening with Jedi going out into unexplored regions of the galaxy and discovering new species, discovering new planets, discovering new ecosystems and stuff like that. So it's always been interesting to me. It's just, I am a lazy fuck who reads, this has literally happened to me twice, not even on Star Wars books. Like the first High Republic book, I read half of it and I stopped, and I enjoyed the half that I read. It's not like I didn't like it. I just stopped. And then another book that I just got recently, and it's not a Star Wars book at all. It's not even related to Star Wars. I picked it up. I read 100 pages of it in 2 days, and then I just stopped. Like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me mentally. I do know that I have a mental block about finishing things. Like if I'm watching a TV series and I know it's coming to the end,
you'll stop
I'll stop. I'll slow down. Like The Expanse. We're in the middle of season 5, and I know it ends at season 6.
Yeah.
And we have been binge watching The Expanse all the way up to that point.
And now I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah, I was like, we'll watch one episode a week.
I wonder what happened to you. It's like like something when you were young, to where you don't want the gratification to end. You know what I mean? It's like you're drawing it out because you know it's a good thing, but you also know if you consume them, it's over. And you don't want that to be over. So it's like something something back in your, in young Nick's past.
Yeah,
it's where it's like maybe you were the older brother though, so it wasn't like your brother was stealing your toys after you enjoyed playing with it. Or
I think I have a vivid memory. I don't think, I know I do, from when I was a kid, and it was when Mr. Rogers ended. Like the run ended. Like I had been watching Mr. Rogers since I was a child,
and that killed you.
That kid, I watched the last one, and my mom told me, she's like, that's the last one. There's no more Mr. Rogers.
Oh no, you're right.
And
this is
I cried. I had a emotional breakdown at whatever age I was, and I think that was it. That was the one that threw me off.
I think you're right. So if there's some free therapy, or if you ever go, be like, hey man, listen, I'm fucked up because Mr. Rogers quit the air. Mr. Rogers fucked me up. I can't give myself self-gratification anymore. I always got to end something. It's like you want to control the end. Right? You couldn't control Mr. Rogers wanting to retire, but Nick can control when he's going to see the series finale of The Expanse. I get it.
Exactly.
I get it. Very good.
So that's the mental block that I have. But
The Expanse ends pretty good, by the way. Like, for all the shit they started, they tend to wrap it up, but I'd argue they leave it pretty loosey-goosey to apparently pursue even deeper into the books that these are based on. So
yeah, there's 9 books. And there's only 6 seasons, and apparently the people who have watched it to its completion and read the books are like, okay, now we need the rest of the books. We need to finish,
because it gets to a stage that ends some of the main stuff that's been going on for the seasons, and it's a definite. It's almost like they were saying to Amazon, like, hey, if you pay us, we can keep doing more.
Yeah. Apparently that's Jeff Bezos loves it's his favorite book series.
Well, he's isn't the reason Amazon got Lord of the Rings is because of him too. Yeah, and he's like, listen, I'll spend anything on it to make it look good.
Exactly. He took the John Hammond approach. He was like, spare no expense in making this show. So they did.
Speaking of that, we just did all the Jurassic Parks this past weekend because I don't know, my kid saw the trailer for the new one and she's like, oh, we should go see it. It's like, well, we got to get you caught up then, so you know who everyone is. But
that's a good run. I mean, honestly, I thought Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom was awful.
Yeah, it's not good.
Up to that, I could deal with the weird Jurassic Park 2 and 3. I like Jurassic World because it was essentially just Jurassic Park 1 again. So
yeah, no, they're all right. I mean, I kind of slept through some of them because we usually throw these on towards the end of the night, and we're laying in the couch, got a fire going, and I mean, these are movies I've seen multiple times, and sometimes I'll doze off. But now, the little one's like, Daddy, your eyes are closed again. It's like, oh no, shit. Now she's catching on to this. Now I gotta, be alert at all times.
Oh man!
I checked out. Yeah. We actually took her to the Uncharted movie on Friday, and she quite enjoyed it. She quite enjoyed it. It's all right. I mean, I could see this definitely starting a franchise, especially based on the money it made. On kind of
Tom Holland makes money. Tom Holland could literally film a movie where he's just sitting in the bathroom the whole time, and it would make $100 million.
Yeah, I realized this kid already he's a box office draw. Because I mean, that's one of the reasons I was like, you know what? I don't think it sticks too close to the games. Not that I give a shit, but Tom's in it, so it can't be too bad. And that's how we made the choice. But yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's very over the top. Lots of Fast and Furious, just insanity. But hey, it's a fucking movie, right? That's what we want to see.
What can you do?
That's what we want to see.
Speaking of movies and TV shows, this High Republic show, we're thinking that it's not The Acolyte, totally unannounced.
Correct.
So do you think this could be The Acolyte could be the bookend? One bookend, and then this show here is going to be the other bookend? Yeah, I mean,
because I know we discussed, I believe The Acolyte's supposed to start filming right around the same time as this show, too. So
I think so.
You would think they would want to run the High Republic one first?
Yeah,
but who knows? I mean, depending on what story they're looking to tell in each, I would also be down for a prequel approach with the High Republic series, kind of filling in some of the gaps that were just glossed over in the Acolyte. I mean, I love that type of storytelling if done right. I'll argue that it was not done right for the Star Wars prequels, at least not what I had cooked up in my head. But there have been prequels in other franchises that have come out and, you know, kind of expertly filled in some of the gaps that the prior film or whatever was trying to relate to the viewer there. So I'd be fine either way. What I wanted to ask you, if you look at the cast and the ages,
yep,
that to me could get a little squirrely. Like it could almost become too much of a kid type of show.
Yeah, too kiddie.
You know, almost following like a sitcom format, like a, you know, Nicky, Ricky, Dickie, and Don. Like every episode, the kids get into some hijinks, and the master has to get them out of it, type of shit. It's like, do you think they can get very serious with it with a kid cast? I mean, would there be moments that the actors could pull off? I don't know. I mean this may be a bit more of a. I don't see it being like a comedy angle, but I could definitely see it being like a Disney, like a very kid friendly version of Star Wars with if 4 of your main characters are under the age of 13, then it's going to be hard to kind of play with a lot of mature themes. Right. Especially if they're going to be bumming around with like one older person as their master. So I could see it being almost like a live action version of the Clone Wars, except it being like a live action version of like Clone Wars or Rebels, where you have like comedic moments, but it's still kind of like a pretty serious tone throughout the series. And then it being in live action, and that being like the entry point to the High Republic is like, you see the future of the High Republic here, or like the future of the Jedi here, but then we're also getting some mature themes mixed in through like the missions that they're going on and stuff like that. So, I guess not going to be like Book of Boba Fett stuff where people are exploding and, you know, stuff like that. Well, I think you have a good point on the Clone Wars, because there were some arcs where it would just follow younglings. It was either, you know, Yoda and the younglings, or Ahsoka and the younglings, Ahsoka and Barriss and the younglings, and it wasn't just a one-off episode. They would actually progress through it. And there was, you kind of got into some of that hijinks dealing with kids. But in the end, they usually like learned a life lesson. And then that's what this could be kind of like a Full House. Or like I said, you know, those types of TGIF sitcoms from back in the day where every episode kind of has a lesson that the kids learn through fucking up. And then the adult comes in like, oh, but you know how Danny Tanner used to always have his... The wrap-up talk at the end.
The sit down.
Yeah, they'd even play the music, and you're like, oh, here, Danny's coming in to kind of teach him a lesson now. And
exactly.
And I could see a show like this going that route, too. So
some good stuff thrown in the chat. Teenage Mutant Ninja Jedis.
There you go.
And then,
Star Wars Goonies.
Star Wars Goonies, a good one, yeah. I mean, those are all possible. My buddy Phil jumped in here, said he enjoyed the first High Republic book, but he wishes that they were a little bit more disconnected, that there was no link to the original stuff like they have with Yoda and others. And I've heard that, like, I kind of voiced that too when they first announced it.
It's hard when you make the motherfucker almost a century-year old.
I know, he's like 900 years old.
Right, so like, I'm an idiot. I always say century like that means 1,000.
A millennium, almost.
Hi, my name's Matt. I'm smart.
Yeah. I am curious to see though, like how much they're actually going to use him, because I feel like if you use him sparingly, or like in some shows just don't use him at all, then you can kind of have that, like, you know, you can put that distance between what we know and what we don't know of the High Republic. And maybe then you still have that feeling like, oh, this is all new. That, like, we don't know any of these characters. And then, you know, you have like Yoda pop in for a little bit and kind of ground you in where
totally.
you are.
Yeah, I could see that, but he can't be. I mean, he couldn't be that prominent of figure. Like, he should still be, you know, maybe other Jedis are kind of cracking jokes on him still because he's not like the Grand Master yet. Like, look at this little guy's been around for 700 years, hasn't even made Grand Master yet. What's up with that? Why does he talk like a jerk off? You know, things like moments like that where they're talking like, shit about Yoda.
Did you see him in Yaddle in the other room?
Yes, exactly. Still, I'm telling you,
Grogu. Man. We get the Grogu conception moment.
Yeah, and we learn that it takes, you know, over 200 years for their species to gestate. So that's why he shows up. You know, he's 20 when Order 66 goes down. So I'm telling you, man, I still think there's something to the fact that when Grogu was asked to take Luke back to his home, and it was the temple. There's something behind that, I believe.
Could be.
I could see Yoda and Yaddle getting a little touchy feely after a council session here or there. Or maybe they were the last ones and they made a pact like, hey, we're not supposed to do this, but we got to carry on the species. Just don't tell anyone because we really fuck with Skywalker when it comes to attachments, so we can't let anyone find this out.
We really got on his ass. We got to be real.
We essentially made him become Lord Vader because of what we told him about attachments and how bad Mace Windu would make him feel about himself. So let's keep this on the DL.
Stipulation: you can only attach to things when you're saving somebody,
you know what?
saving your own species.
That's why Yaddle disappears after the Phantom Menace. Yoda knocked her up and took her out, just snuffed her out. She was a loose end. He's like,
I know. It's like we can't let anybody know about that.
Okay, yeah, we're grown up. We're definitely
we're off the rails. But I mean, I also like knowing that they're actively working on stuff that we don't know about and we've never heard about. You know, that makes me feel like they're not just throwing up a splash screen of all of these titles and just be like, well, that's it. That's all you're gonna get. Like they're developing, they're working, they're casting, they're doing all of these things for a project that we literally know nothing about. So,
and this would be the one. And I know Greggy Boy sent us a story out. Tones may have posted it too, but this is the project that people are talking about Watts being attached to. I don't know. It's showrunner or just directing an episode here or there. If it is indeed Disney Plus, like everyone's making it out to be. But you know, that'd probably be a good get considering the guy just did No Way Home, which is now it's eclipsed them all, right? It's become the new number one
domestic film of all time.
So it's beat Avatar, it's beat Titanic.
TFA was number 2, I think.
Yeah.
Endgame,
right? It was Endgame. Yeah.
I don't think it passed Endgame. It passed It was Endgame, Avatar, TFA, and then Titanic was the and
all we're saying is it made a bunch of fucking cheese,
of money,
a ton,
a lot of money, just in the U.S. too. Like this isn't like global box office. This is just U.S. Domestic. So crazy.
It's like
crazy.
I mean, if Sony and I think they've worked it out, but if Sony and Marvel aren't actively planning out the next 10 years of Spider-Man, they're stupid idiots. It's like, come on, you've seen what have happened. Your fruits have shown everyone the fruits of your labor, working those deals, shit talking negotiations about this character being in here and rights and this right and we own that right. Look what it has produced. Just stick with it. Same to you, Mr. Holland. Don't get all cocky now and want to take on all these artistic roles in independent movies. You play Peter Parker until you look like Peter B. Parker. All right, from the other excellent Spider-Man, the Into the Spider-Verse. You know, he's got a little bit of a pooch. You know, he kind of looks like a bum. Just keep doing it. I don't get actors that give up cash making roles like this. Like it's for the art firm. Fuck you. You know why you're getting in movies like Uncharted and this, that, and the other thing? Because of Spider-Man. So you play that character until the cows come home, good sir. Because like me, I don't think he's getting any taller, and he's definitely has a baby face, so he could easily play Parker.
Yeah, he can ride that for a while,
a decade or more. I mean, hell, even Toby didn't look too geriatric when he showed back up in No Way Home.
Yeah. Toby has aged very well. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what Mr. Holland does. Maybe he's got a couple other things in the works before he jumps back into the Spidey suit. But I mean. Let's we have some more casting news, right? We got another.
We do. It's not Tom Holland, although he did try out for the sequel trilogy, I believe.
He did. He tried out for a sequel.
He read for Finn, believe it or not, I think. But yeah, this one we kind of bumped last week too. We pushed it, as they say in the business. But this was reported by the Hollywood Reporter, so you can pretty much take it as it's good to go. And this is the news that Ray Stevenson of Rome, Vikings, Thor,
The Hobbit.
He's in The Hobbit too, probably.
I think that's the picture that he's like one.
That's the guy he plays in Thor. That's where this picture's from.
Oh, he's
like one of Thor's buddies, like the Mary Four, wherever the fuck they call those 4 other characters. You know, Lady Sif.
Yes. Maybe I'm confused then because that character looks like somebody in The Hobbit.
I mean, Ray's been in a lot of big shit. I mean, he was the Punisher at one point in time in the movie called The Punisher. I still think one of the roles that introduced me to Ray Stevenson was that Rome series that ran for a season or two on HBO, and he kind of befriends himself with a Roman commander, and works his way up through society. Good stuff. That show, I might need to do a rewatch on that show. That was a pretty good show before like the days of Game of Thrones and whatnot on HBO. But anyways, Mr. Stevenson, who, like I said, has been in a lot of pop culture stuff, so you've definitely seen this guy before. In fact, he's also been in Star Wars, Nick. He is the voice of Gar Saxon in the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. But considering Mr. Saxon gets taken out, I think we can say
safely say he's not in
with
it.
full confidence that Gar Saxon is not going to be in the Ahsoka series played by Ray. In fact, THR is reporting that yes, Ray Stevenson has joined the cast of Ahsoka, and that he is playing an admiral, but not the admiral that you may be thinking about when you put two and two together. You think Ahsoka, what'd she say in the Mando? Oh, Admiral? No, not playing Thrawn, but is definitely playing a bad guy, another Admiral. And I don't know anyone else, and who knows if this guy's still alive or if he was on the Death Star. But I could visualize Ray Stevenson as Admiral Rampart, the guy introduced in Bad Batch as like Tarkin's number 2. Right?
Yeah, he was the one who was in charge of all the Imperial propaganda, right?
Yeah,
he was the one that was running the propaganda.
Right, he was on the holo feeds, like, everyone get your chips and we'll give you credits and tag your ships, basically, get into our Rolodex so we can keep tabs on everybody. But he was also the one that was championing the Stormtrooper program over the clones. He was Crosshair's direct report. I don't know, he probably is not playing Admiral Rampart. But Admiral in the remnant Navy, there's a chance. I think it's a good casting. I mean, obviously I've seen Thor. I know his work from Clone Wars. I've never seen the Punisher movie with him, and I've only seen like a limited amount of Vikings, but I enjoyed what I did watch of it. So I mean, it's always good to have somebody who commands a presence, and if there's one thing he's
that
a big guy. I mean, he's tall and burly looking, that's for sure.
Yeah, like if there's anything you can say about Ray Stevenson is that he commands a presence. So I do appreciate that level, like those types of actors, and then taking the screen.
He would look good in that, in the white Admiral uniform for the remnant there. I mean, who knows if Thrawn's still whipping the white. We still have to figure out how this motherfucker, people get all upset about Star Wars. I mean, they still have to write a way out of the end of Rebels where Thrawn and Ezra get sucked into the vacuum of space with no windshield on a Star Destroyer. So
that is very true.
Who the fuck knows what's going on with these guys? But it looks like Rey may be one of Thrawn's. What do you think? He's going to be one of his main henchmen. Could he possibly be a plant? Could he be playing a double agent? And this is who Ahsoka's working through.
That would be interesting. What was the code name that she was working under? And then that Admiral or Callus was working under before. Man, I know that. Shit, that Ahsoka worked under Rebels. Fulcrum, yes. Yeah. I mean, could he be
the next iteration of Fulcrum?
Another Fulcrum, yeah. Like Callus, Ahsoka. Now you have Ray Stevenson's character as the mole within the Imperial forces. If he is close to Thrawn, though, it would be kind of hard for him to play Fulcrum because they've been out of the galaxy for so long.
Yeah.
You would imagine, their presence in the galaxy hasn't been known, or at least widely known, to where you could have somebody infiltrate their ranks. But it's possible. It's definitely possible. Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to play a prominent role too. I don't think you cast somebody like Ray Stevenson, who has a lot of I agree. Backing behind him, a lot of good screen time, and put him up there for for small roles or for like a one-off kind of thing. I would imagine that he's going to be in there for a little bit and play a bit more of a prominent role. I mean, I love the casting. I like the guy's look. I like what he brings in terms of his stage presence to the show. And if he's playing off of somebody like Thrawn, which is almost surely going to be the voice actor, Lars
Mikkelsen, or however you say your name.
So I think that would be a good duo, like a good bad guy duo to have. So I'm all for it.
Yeah,
might watch Rome now too.
It's something to add to the list for sure, as some other people in the live stream. Which, by the way, if you want to join the live stream, we do it every Tuesday on YouTube, usually around 2:30 p. East. YouTube.com/Star Wars Time Show. You just throw it up, listen to the nonsense. You know, today you got a bonus screaming session to start the show, so apologies to that. See, I took it back down. A few notches. All right. Sometimes I just got to get that out of my system.
Yeah.
I mean, the cast is shaken up to be pretty damn slick for Ahsoka, because we now have Rey Stevenson, who's joining Rosario, our queen, Hayden, our king, Natasha Liu Bordizzo, and Ivana Sakno. So those have been none of these, by the way, outside of Rosario are official, but when you have large sites like THR or Variety, sites of those ilk, it's legit. Like these people don't run that type of stuff on a whim like someone like me would do on Star Wars Time Show. I mean,
they don't need to clickbait stuff over there. They get enough clicks without.
Yeah, I mean, I'll run an exclusive as a rumor if I only get one source. Like I'm not trying to be a professional journo and get multiple confirmations. I'm like, all right, shit, someone said something. Let's see if it sticks. Fuck it. Yeah. Let's see if we can get people to click on it or at least steal it and then list it as their own exclusive 2 or 3 months later to run it on Reddit, like this one site did this past week. So yay. Let's not go back down that path, okay? All right, so Rey added to the cast. Okay, so Kenobi talk. We got 2 very juicy Kenobi stories. In this first one, honestly, we talked about it months ago based on another leak that now is seeming to be definitely legit. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think people that listen to the show regularly are those types that want to avoid spoilers, because we pretty much let them rip left or right. It's our job. A lot of this stuff I would prefer to just kind of watch play out, but the inner SWTS in me, there's always time for Star Wars time. It makes that very hard to do. But you may want to tune out of this one for the next 10, 15 minutes, even though we have discussed this exact moment happening many moons ago based on another leak. But anyways, moving into some Kenobi leak territory, we learned about a prominent Skywalker saga character will be used to help kick off events in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. All right, so as I said in the write-up here, this is confirmation of a report we ran and discussed on the show back in July. All right, so it's got some legs to it.
And even before that, we had speculated about something like this happening.
And I was the one. I mean, apparently there's a large faction out there of people that are like me, like Kenobi can't leave Tatooine, and Nick was always like, "Fuck you, sure he can," and sure as shit, it's happening. All right, so as I kind of put in the write up here, there is another, just like Yoda said, the Kenobi on Dagobah, and this is coming from Star Wars Newsnet, and they're reporting as fact. All right, so it is now fact, which back in July it was just rumor speculation, that Princess Leia will indeed be the MacGuffin that gets things going in Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series. Yes. And that's in terms of at least getting Kenobi out of his cave and kind of rejoining the galaxy. And Nick, do you remember us talking about this and the fact that if Leia is in the show, and she is the one that, you know, we even, I think in that report is like, hey, you know, someone has been captured and it's someone important and Kenobi is the one that has to come and get her. We're like, well, you know, Leia would make sense for that. She's very important to Bail Organa, who is very important to the galaxy and the Rebel Alliance. So this could definitely be someone that could motivate Kenobi to leave his post on Tatooine. And that's exactly what we're going to get. So the report goes on that a 10-year-old Leia will be held prisoner in a cantina-esque location. Bail, her adoptive father, will enlist Obi-Wan to rescue her, and this will essentially kick off his new adventure that will eventually see him battling his former apprentice again in Darth Vader. All right? So
yeah, interesting.
It has turned out that she is going to be the MacGuffin, which is the one that I think I finally acquiesced to Nick. Like, okay, yes, I could see Kenobi leaving his cave. And yes, he is reported as living in a cave, kind of like a homeless person at this point in time, to go help out in the galaxy again.
A literal caveman. Literally a man living in a cave. Yeah, I mean, this kind of goes along with a lot of the speculation that we had even prior to that report happening. Like, what could get him off of Tatooine? To me, the only answer was Leia, because in my mind, and probably in his mind as well, like, he's as important as Luke. Like, there's no difference between like Luke falling into Anakin's hands and then Leia falling into Anakin's hands. They both have the same potential. And if you ask Yoda, Leia had more potential.
Leia was always his want. That's who he wanted to follow the path, but she kind of got sucked up into the political side of things.
Yeah. So, and obviously Leia is a little bit more prominently shown than Luke. Luke is literally tucked away on a planet that nobody cares about with a family that nobody cares about. So, the fact that Luke wasn't the first one found, probably not all that surprising. And Leia being a part of a prominent senatorial family and, obviously in kind of in the public eye to a certain degree, makes sense that she would be targeted for something like this, even if they don't know she's a Skywalker. If somebody has a grudge against the Organas,
we actually
in the Imperial,
there's a few more details, Nick. You are speculating yourself right into details, so you're not too far off.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so after this came out, MSW published a report to flesh out even more of what's going on. And, whatever you want to say about Jason and the team, he actually put out like an hour-long video today or yesterday, finally addressing the accusations against him, because I guess it just doesn't go away. It's gotten worse and whatever. But I've seen people. I mean, there's people on Reddit now just lifting his content and posting it as their own because he's been banned from Reddit. That's bullshit too. But either way, MSW added a few more details on this Leia report from SWNN. And, so Bail will travel to Tatooine, get him out of the cave. And according to MSW, Obi-Wan will be going to and this is in quotes, this is his description here, Reno if it were a Star Wars planet.
Isn't that just Canto Bight?
Well, I've never been to Reno, but I've heard it's a little less refined.
Like
yeah, like it's a little more loose. Maybe like what's that main street in Old Vegas? Where not the strip, but like the old strip.
Yeah,
where it gets a little
I know
goofy.
What you're talking about. Yeah.
And he'll be leaving on public transportation, just like we saw Din take recently in the Book of Boba Fett. MSW also confirms that Vivian Lyra Blair, the little girl from Bird Box, is indeed the one playing Leia. That was also reported back in July. Leia is described as being sassy, and that her and Kenobi will have an interesting dynamic together with some back and forth taking place. But this isn't going to go on too far into the show, because if you remember last week, we reported once Vader catches wind that this guy's still alive, that's when he takes over from the Inquisitors and heats things up. So the Leia and Kenobi stuff is probably only going to be episode 1 and 2.
Okay, so question for you. Do you feel like this makes the whole beginning of A New Hope squirrely? Because we have that message that Leia sends to Obi-Wan where she essentially has to explain who she is. Like, hi, this is Leia. You work for my father during the Clone Wars and blah, 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 all this. And based off of what this speculation is, they were kicking around together when she was 10 years old. And 10 years old is plenty enough time for you to have long-term memory stored. Like, I can remember things from when I was 10.
Well, you're not wrong, Nick, and I think it's just going to be more of the way they've explained a lot of shit that Ben says in A New Hope is like, from a certain point of view, he was, because it wasn't so much it wasn't so much, to me at least, that Leia didn't know who Kenobi was. It looked more like Kenobi didn't know who Leia was. But he's also sitting back there. He's rubbing his beard, smiling. So you could technically argue that he's playing it cool. He's playing everything on the down low because, like you said, he knows this is Luke's sister at this point in time. So I guess we can explain away with it. He wasn't going to give any reaction, like his poker face was up. He wasn't going to let anything out that he knew exactly who this girl is, her importance to the galaxy, and why he is agreeing. Because you remember, he does agree to leave. He was going to leave without Luke. Like he was like, all right, if I'm getting this message from this little girl that we're now going to see him save when she is a little girl, he knows shit has gotten bad again, and it's time for him to kind of re-inject himself into galactic politics. But yeah, I mean, we've been talking about a lot of lines that are going to mean different things after this show. And I think you're spot on. Those moments are going to they're going to play out a little differently now because we as fans are going to see these characters interact where we never got to see them interact in A New Hope.
Very true. Very true. So yeah, no, I mean, I like it. Space Reno, the Inquisitors. We already know that Rupert Friend is going to be playing an Inquisitor. We know that, Mo is playing an Inquisitor as well.
She has now been described, Nick, as the third sister. So I'll go on because, like I said, MSW, he gets the goods. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, so rescuing Leia, that's ultimately is what is going to fuck up Kenobi's life. Because up until then, he living like a rat, keeping his head down, doing his thing. But when he pops up and they see a Jedi of his caliber resurface to get this girl, that's what is going to elicit Vader's interest and really kind of kick off episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6. And Vader's just pure lust for taking out Kenobi. But here we go with the Inquisitor. So like I said, Moses is now being called the third sister. I don't know if we're going to run that as official, but MSW is reporting that the fifth brother and the third sister will be the masterminds behind the Leia capture, with the purpose to draw out a big catch like Kenobi from hiding. So what it sounds like to me, Nick, it's not so much like, hey, we're going to get this Organa girl and that's going to get Kenobi. They know like how prominent Bail is, both in the Galactic Republic and now the Rebel Alliance, that if they take his adoptive daughter, they're hoping they're going to draw out a master, someone that's been hiding. Because, the Inquisitors exist, or existed, to help Vader, and Palpatine for that matter, clean up the remnants of Order 66.
It's interesting to me that they would think that kidnapping her would draw out a Jedi.
Well, I didn't finish. You're doing good. You're doing what you should do. You're speculating. But apparently, the Inquisitors have been studying up on Jedi. And going over their connections in life, all right? Who were they friendly with back before Order 66? So this is why they decide, like, all right, Bail Organa's ties, we know who he was talking to. We could see the holo recordings. Let's go after Bail, all right? Let's do something to Bail. Let's take his kid, because they don't know she's a Skywalker, clearly.
They don't know.
I mean, clearly, they would just keep her, and then it would say, end credits, the Empire wins, right? But they know because of Bail's prominence, especially during the Galactic Republic, and how he was aligning himself with the Jedi. I mean, hell, he was the last one there. Twice. I mean, he went there and saw Jet getting murdered by the 501. He helped pick up Yoda from his fight with Homeboy, and he brought Obi-Wan and Yoda back to the temple so they could kill the recording. So yeah, I mean, they probably caught Bail working with Jedi at some point in time, and that's what the Inquisitors are going off. They're like, all right, if we fuck with this guy, we're probably going to get someone big. I don't know if it's like, yeah, we're going to get Kenobi, but it's the way it was written, Nick, it's like someone of that type of level, like a master will be drawn out.
Interesting.
So carrying on with the Space Reno, if you remember, we got some concept art, and I definitely believe one of these, if not both of these, are going to be this Reno planet, Nick. I don't know if you can see it on the post, but
Can see it. Yep.
you got like this drab one, but it does have like kind of a casino feel. It looks like, you got like open venues along a strip that people could go into. The other one's a little more like real Vegas. So, maybe this is Coruscant or a lower level of Coruscant. But I do believe if you're on the live stream, one of these two pieces of concept art is this Space Reno that we're being talked about. And the reason we're still talking about Space Reno, not because we are degenerates and need to gamble, but this is where Kenobi is going to run into Kamal Nanjiani's character. Okay.
Indeed.
So apparently his character is already a contact of Organa's and apparently Kenobi's at this point. And this is who Obi-Wan is going to link up with once he lands on Space Reno to get details about where Leia is being held. And apparently Kamal's character will tell him, all right, it's in this spice den. And the last bit here, and it's a correction to what we were talking about last week. This Tom O'Connell guy, one of the actors playing Vader in Kenobi, last week we reported that he's also going to be playing a Zabrak Jedi in Kenobi. That was not correct. He is playing a Zabrak, but is more than likely just a patron at this spice den that Kenobi will be going to. He is playing a Jedi in the series, just not a Zabrak Jedi. All right.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. But I mean, it seems like this guy is playing. At this point, it's 3 confirmed roles. He's playing Vader. He's playing a Jedi.
It's a dream come true. Like, this guy's been described more of like a stunt guy, but it's kind of the same thing that happened to Brendan and Lateef with The Mandalorian, where I doubt they were pitched like, hey, this is going to be recurring. You're pretty much going to be the guy. You're going to have work for the next 7 or 8 years. Bank on it. It's going to be huge. People are finally going to know who you are and what you do. But it's very similar it sounds like, what this Tom guy's getting, because MSW also said he's going to be playing a Mandalorian in The Mandalorian Season 3. So, yeah, he's definitely all over the Star Wars verse these days, at least the TV wing. So, you know what? Kind of hate him, but good for him, right? He
good on him.
He did something right at the right time. He's not sitting in his basement yelling about not being included like I did to start the show today.
I mean, it's cool. I do like how space mirrors the United States, where you have like Vegas, aka Canto Bight, which is where the well off, like, if you have some money to spend, if you're kind of a high roller, you go to Vegas. But then there's also Reno for like the broke people out there who have gambling addictions. Yeah, it's like, okay, you go to Reno because everything's cheaper, and I hope that's what it looks like. I hope we get to this space Reno planet, and it's just like a bunch of like old hustlers sitting there smoking their death sticks, and in these little spots, you go up to tables that only have 1 or 2 people sitting at them. I really want to see what they do aesthetically with this space Reno, but I want it to feel like dingy and grimy.
Yeah, that's like, why I'm thinking it's probably the more earth tone concept art that I threw up there, because that one definitely, like Nick said, it's got that tinge to it, a musk. You can almost smell like the sewer just looking at the screenshot. It's like when you walk, if you've ever walked into a smoker's house, and you can see like they have their walls just have like this shade of yellow to it because of all the smoke that has clung itself onto the one of those lovely establishments. One of the where it's like so rotted and stained in there, wallpaper's peeling out. It's like the walls themselves are trying to run away from the structure because it's so rancid and rank and dank. I think this has potential to be a great kind of opening 2 episodes. You gotta imagine like episode 1, we'll get a little build up, maybe Kenobi sitting in a cave having flashbacks, get to see him in Sky Guy, Clone Wars era. Bail shows up, they lay that down, he spends the rest of the episode making his way to Space Reno, hooks up with Kumal, gets the details, and then maybe we roll. Do you think he saves Leia by the end of episode 1, or do they roll that in episode 2, and then episode 2 ends with essentially she's safe, Kenobi's found out, Vader's on the hunt. Let's go, episode 3.
With a 6-episode run, I would expect them not to get Leia back until either in episode 2 or by the end of episode 2.
Yeah.
I don't think that they would do the whole thing in one shot.
So one is going to be like all set up, maybe get him to the planet. Then 2 is the actual rescue mission, getting her safe, and then the reveal that Vader now knows that Kenobi's out there, and maybe has a way to track him. Who knows? I have a feeling some of the Inquisitors fall here, at least ones that don't make it into Star Wars Rebels. I don't know if Third Sister does. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. I can't
I'm
keep all the sisters and brothers organized here.
It is hard to keep them all in line. But yeah, I think that we'll definitely have the death of some.
He's got to take one of them out, or maim the living shit out of both of them. Because I mean, it's going to be something where, you know, Vader's going to get excited regardless that his former master has been found. But it's got to be like in an embarrassing way for him. Like his Inquisitors just get freaking owned by Kenobi. And Vader's like, okay, well, all right, let's do this.
Yes, this is my problem now.
It's time to put on my big boy pants and let's get to it.
Yeah.
Damn.
So there we go. But yeah, I mean, I do like it. I like the MacGuffin, or I like Leia as the MacGuffin.
It is perfect. It really is.
Like
I'm an idiot for thinking that he would never leave. It's too good. Like you said, it may wonk up some of the New Hope stuff, but that's already been wonked left and right with the prequels. Who cares? I mean, we know old Ben, he was suffering from some PTSD. We now know that Spice was rolling through Tatooine here and there. So, I mean, there's a good chance that he had a little bit of a habit.
Dealing with some memory loss.
Yeah, no, maybe he's like me. And, you know, if he had too many blue milks in a certain amount of time, his brain would just stop recording memories and thoughts. And he would just wake up and be like, oh, okay, it's a new day. Good for this. But no, I mean, this show, just even this little stuff, just kind of fleshing out the first 2 episodes, knowing what we know now. Cannot freaking wait. I mean, I've been saying this ever since we knew it was a real deal, but this has so much potential to be the greatest entry in that original trilogy timeline. And that's taken on Rogue One, Star Wars Rebels, A New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi. And that's some big shit.
For sure.
If they do the Vader stuff right, Nick, this could be godlike. I mean, almost.
It could be.
Almost like going to church for a lot of us. You know, I could see myself starting to get like they do in some of those southern, you know, Baptist churches where I start speaking in tongue and just be like, haga waka waka, oh yaza ya yaga waka 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 yaza.
All of a sudden you just learn like you learn Huttese.
Yeah,
they wanna wanga.
Exactly. It's just like and I'm not one of these people like, oh, you know, I'm going to lower my expectations, but no way. Like, I'm going into this with a big fucking smile on my face, and I'm expecting that to stay there for the entire 6 episodes. And just, you know, learning this stuff and kind of being able to start speculating. It's like all we need now is the trailer, and then we can really get knee deep, pull up our boots and go to work. Yeah.
So if this just explodes, all right, we saw a 35% increase in the number of people who watched Book End versus Mando S2 End. If this goes up, if this is 65% more people watched the Kenobi finale versus the Book of Boba Fett finale, do they make a season 2 happen? Do they run it back and say like, hey, we can come up with something else. We can go again.
I like this. I like the question. Money talks. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure for some people over there, it would be a no-brainer. I would hope from the people that are in charge of the narrative that we keep this high and tight. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
Because you really would. I mean, at that point, what are you going to start doing? Like, you know, Obi-Wan sitting out there creeping on Luke, drilling for water. I mean, I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't want another one. I feel like they're already kind of getting into the sacred ground, and Ewan himself has said, I've always felt like there's one more story, and I'm gonna stick to what he's saying. He's always said, I think we talked about last week. He's like, I've always felt there's one more story to be told with my Kenobi before we pass off to Alex in A New Hope, and I think they're gonna stick to that. I hope so. I mean, just make more Book of Boba Fett if you want to try to print more money. Even though you're gonna get some people butthurt, who cares? Let's leave Kenobi nice and untouched after his series here.
Okay. Yeah, no, I do agree with you on that. I think that for sure it would be hard to do a follow-up series to that, to like continue the timeline forward, inching ever closer towards A New Hope. And if anything,
you're already going to be blowing your load with these two former friends fighting again. So it's like, do we really need to, as Nick said, run it back? Probably not. I said, I hope the story people win out in that argument versus the money people, because there is always a chance. I mean, if this thing, as Nick said, has 100% more viewership than Mando or Book of Boba, it's going to be hard for those people in the suits that are worried about the stock. They're going to be like, oh shit, this is like print money, man. This is an ATM. Come on. We'll contain it to a day in the life of Kenobi. Just 24 hours, set over 6 episodes. Like, come on, we can do
24 Kenobi edition. Like, give me something. Because you have to figure too, if this blows up, then you're going to have people that are dying for content. Like the fans are going to call for it. I mean, even some like Hayden, just think about what that could do for Hayden.
It's a meal ticket for him, son. He's like, hey, I'm getting paid again.
Yeah. He's like, he comes back, he fucking kills it. Everybody loves him as Vader. He's going to be like, hey man, what else can you put me in? Like what you got? Well, what do you have for me?
Then there we go, Nick. We get our Vader series then, because even though it sounds like he's going to play a major role in this, and we're going to get more Vader than we ever thought we'd get in the Rogue One style Vader, but even angrier. Which again, I got a chub right now, and I think my nipples are starting to get hard. That shit excites me like none other. But there's there's so many interesting ways you could tell Vader's story over long form TV. Really getting into the mind of the character and just the torture that he experienced, not only physically but mentally, 24/7, every single day of his life, the moment he got fucked up by Kenobi. And I mean, there's comics that kind of fill in some of the gaps. There's books that have done it, but we've never seen it with moving images, the shit that dopey people like Nick and I like. Not reading, not pictures. We want to see those pictures moving pictures. Yeah, that's interesting. I think the only other thing, and why do it, because it's already canonized and it was done so well. But the only other thing they could potentially do is a live action retelling of Kenobi and Maul finally, having their last duel. Because that would have been that would take place a few years after this Kenobi series, but you're getting into Alex territory at that point. Because even in Rebels, they went full on Alec Guinness. I mean, that was full on Alex. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure this should be a one and done for our man. And
I hope what they do is kind of like what you said though, where if Kenobi is Kenobi with sprinkles of Vader, if they choose to make something else, I hope it's Vader with sprinkles of Kenobi, where you almost get like the inverse kind of look at the life. It doesn't have to be the same time period, obviously, but still including Ewan's Obi-Wan in there in small doses, but then having your main player be Hayden's Vader.
Yeah, I mean,
and then
we know what's going to happen in this series. Kenobi comes out with his life. All right, we know he's not going to die. But we don't know what sort of trauma it causes him or will cause him. I remember one of these dumb shows we were talking about, well, maybe the fight with Vader is what kind of causes Kenobi
his memory.
Yeah, to kind of, focus his force energy more on, training Luke a certain way versus how he may have initially wanted to train him. Not so much in the, whack, 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 but more of a force-minded approach. A little more Qui-Gon-ish. Because I mean, I think for both characters, their interactions in Kenobi are going to be huge on how they choose to kind of move forward in life. For Vader, it's just going to keep that piss and vinegar tank full. He's going to remain angry because he's probably going to get bested again, made to look a fool. Maybe Kenobi tries the line on him that Padme gave him, and we get that payoff in Return of the Jedi, like I've said a few times. But yeah, I mean, seeing Vader's mindset coming out of Kenobi would be a very interesting series, because he's going to be even more fucked up, because once again, he's going to lose to the guy that he hates with every ounce of his soul. I mean, there's no difference in the Maul Kenobi saga and the Vader Kenobi saga. They almost mirror each other, where Kenobi bested them and they can't fucking let it go, and it drives everything for them. So yeah, I mean, come on, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. Kenobi has so much potential. Does that mean it has more potential to fail hard? I guess, but I don't want to think that way. I can't think that way. You got Ewan's in it. You got Deborah directing every episode. There's no trading off bullshit. You would have to think that Filoni, or maybe even Favreau, probably Filoni, had some say in the overall direction of the story. It just, come on. It's the guy.
Too many good pieces.
Mr. Hello There, back on screen for the first time since 2005 was when Rant came out.
Yeah,
thing of beauty.
I'm excited. I hope there's something more to come, whether it be a Vader series or whatever else. But man, yeah, I'm hyped.
I think you and I, we'd be fine with sequel, trilogy, prequel. It doesn't matter for us, but. Yeah. If you held a gun to my head, Matt, what era do you want to see your Star Wars content in? Naturally, I'm going to go to the ones where I grew up with it, and to me, those are the interesting stories. It is the Skywalker saga after all, and this is another movie in the Skywalker saga. Yeah.
And look, if we didn't give you enough reason to be hyped for Kenobi, let's drop a little bit. Let's drop the cherry on top of the sundae.
This is pretty sweet. I do like this.
This is the cherry on top. This is the sprinkles. This is the whipped cream and the chocolate. This is John Williams crafting a theme.
90 fucking years old, Nick. 90 years old, still at it.
Still cracking them out. So he has crafted a theme for the titular character in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. You know who that is? That's Obi-Wan Kenobi himself.
Right.
So Mr. John Williams, Sir John Williams, the great John Williams, is coming back to Star Wars specifically to make a theme for Kenobi. I mean, that is some incredible shit.
Yeah, and apparently, I mean, he just recorded it like a week or two ago, because this kind of snowballed middle of last week, Nick. It started on Reddit leaks of like, oh yeah, this Lord of the Ring podcast was talking about how someone they know was at a studio, and on the studio, it was John Williams, and the sign said Kenobi. And then the rumors started to pass around. Then Variety, I think, came out finally on Friday, and they're just like, oh no, this is legit. John Williams was indeed tapped to create a theme for Kenobi. So he's not scoring the whole show. He's not like the Ludwig for Mandalorian. Yeah. He's creating a theme for Kenobi himself. Now, is that going to be the show's theme, or like Kenobi's theme,
like the Luke song?
Yeah, Luke has a theme. Kenobi's Rey has a theme. Leia has a theme. We all know them. I mean, you might not know the name of the track, but you instantly know. Okay, that's Leia. Okay, no, that's Luke. All right, that's Kenobi. Stuff like that. So, that's good stuff. I mean, I would hope this guy could retire at some point in his life, but considering what he's achieved and what he does, I have a feeling this is a dude that just loves composing, and he's gonna do it until he fucking drops dead. So I'm glad that we're gonna get another Williams theme for a Star Wars project, because you know it's gonna be special, you know it's gonna be catchy, and you know it's something you're gonna remember. The guy has knocked it out of the park for every single thing he's been asked to do. I mean, you could argue some of his best music comes from the prequel eras. I mean, those themes there are so iconic and poignant of for the characters and the moments they're taking place. And then obviously we've made the case over and over again that without him in the original movies, are they even as impactful or memorable or etched into pop culture as they are today? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, he's to me, he's just as much a part of the Star Wars magic formula as George Lucas himself.
Yeah, 100%. Question from Bat. He says, what if this is kind of the final nod to the
It's a
OT
good final
era?
nod, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, we can't say that it's a final nod to the OT era because technically, I mean, like, it just depends on to you how far the OT era expands. Like, does the OT era end at Return of the Jedi? Is that the end of it? Or do you consider...
We thought so until they started bringing back CG Luke left and right in the Mando timeline. So
is the Mando considered the OT era? I agree with Matt, though, that if this is the send-off, if this is the, hey, we're kind of done here, what a send-off.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you're going to do it with Kenobi and have these showdowns between him and Vader be like the, you know, so long and thanks for all the fish from the OT, then I'm all for it. Because we all do have to accept the fact that, like, at some point in time, OT content is going to be dried up unless you just start making up new characters that live in the OT and then just telling stories about them. But at that point, is it OT anymore? If it's a brand new character that was never seen in the original trilogy movies, like, but yeah, I mean, we have to be prepared for that as Star Wars fans, that, like, the OT era will not get new content anymore. And,
I mean,
if this is it, then
never say never definitely is alive and well in Star Wars, because you remember the fucking marketing campaign for the Rise of Skywalker was, this is the end of an era. The Skywalker saga comes to a close until we decide to write Luke Skywalker into the Mandalorian and into the Book of Boba Fett. And we're bringing back Boba Fett too. It's like, all right. I guess
timeline-wise, they were like, well, at this point, there are no blood lineage Skywalkers left alive. That's probably the way that they were thinking about it. was like, this is like this time period right here. After this movie, there are no more Skywalkers left alive. That was it.
And Nick, they still couldn't even get past just dropping the name altogether, right? Because in the end, they go... I am Rey Skywalker. It's like, okay, well,
the legacy lives on.
They're not letting that name go away. It is a beautiful name. I love it. It is iconic within Star Wars, but it was just kind of silly that they were going out of their way to bill Tross as like, this is it. This is the final exclamation point on the story of the Skywalkers. Never again. And then a year later, he shows up in the Mandalorian. Here you go.
Here's Luke Skywalker in here. But,
I believed it, man. Because remember, I was like, "There's no way Luke's coming. You know, I'll cut off my testicles if he shows up." And sure as shit, he walks through. You know, Red 5 comes flying in on camera. I'm like, "Well, damn, they did it. They did bring him back."
They no fear and no shame. But hey, I mean, I've been saying it for a while. Like, Star Wars is going to exist outside of the OT for a long time to come, and we just need to accept that as a fan base.
I'm good, man. Like I said, I had my issues. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I was one of these people we bitch about every week. There's no doubt about it. I'm not someone who would go out of my way and, you know, get on a social platform and bitch and moan, but I was
sending death threats
I was
to directors.
very sour, very, very sour on the prequels. And it's just, you know, over time it lessened, and I just realized, you know what? I love fucking Star Wars. What's the point? Why hold a grudge?
Just
who gives a shit?
And enjoy the Star Wars.
Just fire it up, listen to that great music, check out some of the neater looking scenes in the prequels, and just, you know, it is what it is. We got the Clone Wars that kind of ironed over some of the nonsense, and then we got the ones we grew up with if you're a 70s, 80s baby, and then you have the sequel trilogy. And I still contend those movies, especially TFA on their own, are all pretty damn good, but the trilogy as a whole was a fail. And, you know, that's a bummer, but I'm not going to sit there and pine away about that. I'm like, all right, give us more sequel trilogy content. I don't give a shit. It's going to be Star Wars. Let me process it, see how it is. And that's how we approached the sequel trilogy. I mean, we weren't these people ready to light things on fire. I mean, even after TLJ, it's like, you know what? Let's just sit and wait. And we did. And then I had my final judgments on the trilogy, and it was a fail. But I wasn't going to make that call until I was able to take it in with my own eyes, ears, and rotted brain. Okay. The other big thing about this Williams get, Nick, is he doesn't do TV. This will be really the first time he'll be making a theme for a TV show since 1985, in which he composed a theme for Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories. All right, so this is is kind of a big get for the Kenobi series, to get this man to compose a new theme for a TV show, because he's like, fuck you, I'm a movie guy.
TV?
Yeah.
TV? What is it?
Like,
what's TV?
Do you know how many Oscars I have?
Oh, no, but I'm sure he was happy to do it. Yeah, I mean, it's a big get. You know, all the music. I think, you know, there were some people who didn't like the music to book, but you know, I've liked everything that Ludwig's done with The Mandalorian. I like the themes in the animated series as well. So, I mean, there is definitely a formula to making a good Star Wars theme. You got to have your good brass. You got to have some string instruments in there, but then you get Ludwig coming in and he's killed it. I mean, that guy's killed it. Different style, and just
that dude
absolutely crushed it.
Like, his full compositions for The Mandalorian season 1 and 2 are all good. I mean, you can throw those on and in your mind go right to the scenes. Like, he's Williams-esque. I'm not even putting him close to where Williams is at, but he managed to kind of do the same thing with The Mandalorian in his score. And the Mando theme song is like a Haywood family kind of it's a ritual at this point in time. Yeah. You know, the little one and I, you know, she'll even request, let's put it on, and it's the same. You know, when you really get the we're up there doing fist pumps and like, and then you know, he did it again with Book of Boba, both versions, the non using his name and the using his name. The using his name version of the Boba Fett theme song is still one of the greatest things ever. It's just, you listen to it and you're going like, they're saying this shit. They're no longer just chanting. They're literally going bo 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 Boba Fett. It's like, this is so cool that they'd had the balls to do that. So, but yeah, I mean, come on. I have a feeling that the theme for Kenobi is probably going to be another winner, just like we've had so far for Mando and the Book of Boba.
Yeah, so, I agree.
Andor, it'll be up to you. Can you pull it off? Because I think they've got like the Succession composer doing their score, so we'll see if they can get a catchy theme song. All right, dude, It is time for this week's version of the Star Wars Time Show fan segment. I don't know why we do what we do for the fans, considering how much they hate us and disrespect us, but we're bigger than that. Okay, we take the high road, not the low road. Although I did take the low road a little bit today to open the show.
You know, it was a little detour down the low road, but we're back up here on the high road.
Sometimes you just gotta, you gotta get that shit off your chest, or you're gonna have a fucking stroke.
Sometimes the high road's got a lot of traffic.
But anyway, fan segment. If you are new here, and maybe you are, because we had a lot of traction last week. I don't know if it was just the finale of Book of Boba Fett, or if we said something stupid and people caught on. But we had a lot of downloads last week. So if you are new and you want to get involved in the fan segment, your best bet is to check us out on Instagram at Star Wars Time Show. That's where every Tuesday you will find the prompt for the question of the week, which is what we're going to do first, as well as you can get mixed up in our features on the page. So if you are an artist, a Star Wars artist of any kind, and you share your work on Instagram and you would like to get a feature or considered for one, please tag at Star Wars Time Show and use hashtag Star Wars Time Show. And then after that, please don't come and ask me to then curate your content for you. If you tag us, we will feature what you tag us in if it is deemed worthy. All right? It's not that hard to figure out, please. That shit bums me out when I got people coming at me like, hey, thanks, but could you do this and that and this and that and this and that? It's like, all right, do you not understand what a feature is? But oh well. All right, dude. So as I said here, we usually start with the question of the week. This week, I actually remembered to post it on our account instead of just the story. So I'm assuming we had a few looks. I didn't peek yet because Nick was running this one. So let's go ahead and pull up the board. We had a good amount of responses from the fan base. I picked 5.
Some you know, some you don't know, maybe. And I think it's got a good mix of thoughts in here. So the question was, what was your favorite or least favorite part of the book of Boba Fett? First response.
All right. Who's up first?
Mr. 1-6 Shooter, the guy who clearly kicked us off of the panel. We know that Trevor was the one who said that these guys can't be involved.
He's like, listen,
so
if you bring in that Matt guy, we're going to get thrown out of Star Wars Celebration because he'll say something stupid. Yeah.
But his thoughts, 1-6 Shooter says, the Luke CGI made me very happy. Just seeing him training Grogu was great, and I hope we get to see more of him at the Academy. There's at least 8 years or so before Ben blows it all up. So look at that. He's a fan of the CGI Luke in the training sequence with little Grogu.
Damn, the Russians are out in force today in the live stream. So thank you.
They're invading the Ukraine just like they're invading our chat.
Big Joe helping us out. They're one of the wrenches today because it's been nonstop. Although I'd like to check out this Love Face XYZ online strips without clothing. You know, that sounds kind of tempting.
Goodness. Oh, goodness. This is the kind of people that we have in our chat.
There you go.
Next up, Passage to Alderaan says, I enjoyed the 2 episodes without Boba Fett in them very much, and they did a fantastic job with Cad Bane until they killed him off. The rest was a bit disappointing.
Cad lives, man, just like Frodo. I'm telling you, get the t-shirts out.
Hashtag Cad lives.
Cad lives. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, so if you like Cad Bane, Passage to Alderaan, there is a very good possibility that you may see him back because we do not know if he is dead. I mean, basically nothing kills you in Star Wars. Not even get thrown down
Not these days.
Reactor of a fucking...
Ever since they wrote somehow Palpatine returned, anything is possible.
Anything's possible, baby. Here we go. So thank you, Passage to Alderaan. Collectible says, episodes 5+6 were some of my favorite live action Star Wars moments ever, although I was a little conflicted about the morality of CGI Luke and the can of worms that opens up. Other than that, it was just okay. Glad Tamira is still getting work, but he is not lead actor material.
Ooh, wow.
Ooh.
Tem,
I mean, I will say that,
face.
I mean, he has played lead roles, but it was in more like, local New Zealand productions and stuff. Because he played Aquaman's dad, which was not a lead role, but that was a big ass movie.
Yeah.
He played Django in Star Wars and stuff like that, and now he's got the clones and Boba Fett under there too. But I think that a lot of times too, like good actors can look bad because of lackluster directing. We saw that with the prequels, so I don't want to say too much about Tem's performance. I thought he did a pretty good job. Especially
whatever
with the
faults Book of Boba had, it was not Tem's. I mean, it was other things. There was, as we found out, there was some kind of lazy writing and then obviously some interesting directorial choices in terms of how to frame and block shots and do action.
Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe I think that Tamira may be able to redeem himself in your eyes, Collectibles, if we get some more Boba live action.
Tem ain't done. I mean, again, that guy can play fucking anybody. Like anyone, he can play any clone if there's flashbacks in series, and then he can always play Rex if we're going to stick to the Mandoverse timeline. So
indeed. All right. Jordan Cullup says, I thought the entire series was great. I was upset by the Bozo Fett fans bitching about the character with 10 minutes of screen time.
Jordan,
didn't live up to
Jordan
their
listens to the show. There's no doubt about it. Anywhere you see a Bozo Fett, they have at least tuned in once. So.
Shades of Sith Matt in this response. And they complained about the hipster modded Space Vespa gang not fitting in on Tatooine. Then people actually stopped watching the series. Thanks for nothing. And I hope they're happy about the show being a one-off series. Sorry, rant over. New Star Wars is good Star Wars.
Amen,
period.
Jordan. Preach, bro. Preach.
There we go. Hopefully it's not a one-off too. Fingers crossed. If those viewership numbers tell you anything, Jordan, we may actually get some more.
Right. What metrics are they going off of? Social media or actual tangible data? You never know.
Eyes on the screen.
Right.
Who knows? And the last one for this week is AB_ToyPix. Says, I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes. I felt they did They really did a lot for the character of Boba. I was excited to see more of the present day timeline, but it was unfortunately cut short by Mandalorian episodes. Both of those were great, though. So overall, while I'm conflicted, I enjoyed the show very much. So that's a little bit of here and a little bit of there with that one, like the first two. And I definitely see that because I really loved everything with the Tuskens. I thought that did a great job of explaining Boba Fett's character arc up until the point where we get back into real timeline. And I can see, like, if you are enjoying that, if like you were really into like Boba's character progression, the stuff that he was doing with the Tuskens, and then now coming in and kind of changing stuff up with, you know, kicking the shit out the Nikto gang and then taking over, I could see why you would be a little upset by a detour for some Mando time. But it seems like
I still, to me, and this is just me, the only thing I missed from the past that I would have liked to have seen, and it would have been recent past, I still would have liked to have seen how he ultimately figured out that Din got the armor from Cobb. And it is somewhat explained. I mean, you get the idea in The Mandalorian itself. I mean, they show him he was tracking Din, sees him zipping off on the speeder, and then ultimately follows him to Tython. But I think that would have been like the final, just kind of unknown, fleshed out that we didn't get. But yeah, after episode 4, they're like, all right, fuck it, we're going full Mandoverse, shared universe. Let's get the party started. We'll see you, Boba, in the finale.
Yeah, indeed. So, overall, so like your general thoughts overall. Big thumbs up. Big thumbs down.
It was good. It was serviceable. It was enjoyable. I think if I had to put a rating on the series as a whole, it's probably clocking in at a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10.
That's
like a B-ish type of rating, which to me is plenty good. I mean, it gave me everything I wanted because I didn't go in thinking that I would see some badass Boba Fett. It explained how he got out, why he was doing what he was doing, and then it reminded everyone that in the end, the Mandoverse belongs to Din, and he is going to be the one that kind of has the tentpole narratives that flesh all this stuff out, and everyone else is just kind of playing within his tent.
Very true. So.
All right.
Good stuff. Thank you to everybody who responded to the question of the week. You can keep up with that on Tuesday mornings. Check out the Instagram feed. There will be a question.
Yeah, I need to do more. It's like shit like this. That's how we get like real engagement, you know?
Yeah, like people actually saying words that mean something.
Right.
And that the algorithm can track good interactions with. So, you could check it out Tuesday mornings. There's a question posted on the feed. And all we need you to do is just put something from your brain down. Write something down. Let us know your thoughts. Even if your thoughts are, man, that sucked.
Yeah, we take them all. We take all varieties of responses, and we try not to edit. All right. So
very, very true.
Have at it.
For those of you who are not so eloquent with words, there is another way you can get involved in the fan segment, and that is with our top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. That happens every week. I put out the top 5 Monday nights, and that comes from all the work that Matt did during the week, curating and picking out excellent toy shots.
I slave away.
Yes, slave away over a hot cell phone.
Yeah.
And the way you get involved is use hashtag Star Wars Time Show on all of your Star Wars art features on Instagram, and tag us at Star Wars Time Show on those as well.
Oh yeah, Bat's right. Because I keep forgetting this. I set up an IFTT that if we use I know Nick he's in the tech space, so I knew he would figure it out. But for the people that aren't in the know, IFTT is actually a great site to go to. You can set up some crazy logic for your social platforms, and one of the logic I have built in is if we do an Instagram post and it has the Star Wars Time Show hashtag, it shares it to Twitter. So Bat is correct. You will see the question of the week on Twitter as well. Your response probably won't be seen by one of us though, because we don't pay too much attention to Twitter or Facebook these days
too often. Yeah, because I mean, obviously, our biggest platform and the one that we put the most time into is the Instagram.
Yep.
So we are happy for those of you who are seeing stuff on the Twitter or the Facebook, but more likely if you want your shot to be, or if you want your response to be seen, toss it over on that Instagram. We did have 2 responses on the Twitter one this time, and one of them was from Bat. So that's why he said, check Twitter.
Oh, check this out. We had a cool little story happen that kind of sprung from our Discord. So I don't know, I forget what day it was, maybe Friday. Nova, who is SW Black Series Clips here in the live stream, we were kind of pissing around in the Discord in the random channel. I forget whatever. I think he posted one of his latest stop motions, and it was for Peacemaker, and he remade the opening intro, like the dance that they do with action figures. And it was great, like, because SW Black Series Clips on Instagram has gotten really good at this art form. The animation's super smooth. And if you've been watching Peacemaker, you know that it has one of the greatest intros of all time that is almost impossible to skip. You know, these days we're programmed to hit that skip intro right away. I didn't do it once for Peacemaker because it's got a kick-ass rock song, and then seeing like John Cena dance to it and the other dances they choreographed. It's fantastic. So anyways, Black Series Clips shares it in there. I'm like, damn, dude, that's fucking good. Have you tagged Gun? Because, you know, I still run like a Hootsuite, so I have just streams of shit coming from Twitter, Instagram, whatever. So I still kind of have my pulse on what's happening. And I could see earlier in the day that James Gunn he's soaking in the glory of the Peacemaker finale, which I'll tell you right now, Peacemaker is the greatest show of 2022 so far. And coming from a Star Wars fan like me, that speaks volumes, all right? It's fantastic. It's great from start to finish. You'll laugh, you'll cry. And for me, I finally realized that, yeah, John Cena can fucking act. He can do it. He's got great comedic timing. The dude had me laughing my ass off. I mean, the whole cast. But anyways, I'm like, dude, Gunn's loving this right now. Like, he's on there. He's retweeting this. I saw like another fan just kind of redid the intro themselves in their dorm room. So I'm like, dude, has anyone tagged Gunn yet? And, you know, Black Series Clips was like, no, whatever, not on Twitter. And then eventually Bat took it upon himself on his Twitter, tagged Gunn, and no shit. Within a couple hours, Gunn picked up on it and was like, this is fucking awesome. He shares it, and now I think Bat's tweet, he's saying in the live stream, 308,000 views. So we had a Star Wars Time Show Discord member go viral by being in the Discord. All right?
Hey, man,
I only had the idea, so I'm not taking full credit, because I was like, I had the idea, but I'm one of those assholes that has the idea then doesn't do it. Like, doesn't follow up.
It's like, hey, man, this would be good.
Yeah, I'm like,
if somebody else did it.
And then Bat took the initiative, and sure as shit, it got picked up, and James shared it out. And I think he said, he's like, this is unbelievable. So there you go. That's the type of magic that can happen if you latch on to the Star Wars Time Show. You just never know. I mean, look what we've done for Devin's career, Super Scoundrel. He's now like the vice president of Cameo because of us sharing and talking about his art on the SWTS. So keep it up. But yeah, no, I'm glad I got to work in Peacemaker a bit, because Nick, you gotta watch it, man. I don't know if it's a show for you and the lady, but it is some damn good television. It's one of the best live action DC things yet, and just wait till you see the cameos they get in the finale, in the way they treat the cameo people. It is unbelievable. All right,
it's definitely going to be a solo me show, but yeah, I plan to catch up on it for sure.
I mean, just you cannot get through an episode without laughing out loud. I mean, it's fucking brilliant. All right, so back to the top 5. Sorry to continue things on and extend the show a bit. Let's go, buddy. Who do you got as your first pick this week?
First up in the top 5 is an absolutely amazing piece of poster art done here by Wes Dance Illustration. And what we see is a custom poster for that particular episode of the Book of Boba Fett. From the desert comes a stranger, and it's just an awesome illustration, like illustrated poster of Cad Bane in that scene where you see him coming towards Mos Pelgo from the desert, still kind of shadowed, but you have that great illustration, that big illustration of him as the main focus of this image. And God, I mean, like, this is one of those things where, again, like Matt and I are like, we're art stupid, so we're like, real ass paint. This is cool. What happened? How did you do this?
Exactly.
But it was so good. Like I almost thought that this was an official piece of Star Wars, like art for, post Boba Fett. Like, here's a cool poster. But this is completely original from Wes Dance Illustration on Instagram, and I mean, it is some really, really killer stuff.
It's awesome, and I think this is a first and first. So what that means is it's the first time Wes Dance tagged us. I featured him during the week, and then Nick kind of realized my expert tastes and lumped them into the top 5. So yeah, I mean, Wes Dance Illustration, good stuff here. As as Nick said, it's just I love the way CAD kind of bleeds into the environment of it. It's almost like a tale of two art pieces. You've got the CAD portrait, but then you also have a kind of a landscape scene from the show itself, and CAD's portrait bleeds into that. Now, if we're not good at describing what images look like, you can always check them out on StarWarsTime.net for the whatever episode you're watching. We always have kind of a post and then the topics we discuss. So we encourage you to do that. StarWarsTime.net. Check it out.
All right. Next up, we have at I love this one. This Intergalactic Raptor at Intergalactic _Raptor on the IG. Very, very, very creative toy photographer. And what we see here is a cool piece of Din and Grogu, except it's not what you would typically see. Grogu has been frozen. Yep. They're on some ice planet. Maybe it was the planet where they ran into all those
alternate
ice spiders.
Scenes. Yeah, it's alternate scenes from season 2.
Alternate scenes from there. So what we see is Grogu frozen in ice, full ice cube mode, and then Mando using his wristbound flamethrower to slowly melt Grogu from his ice prison.
Yeah, it's almost like he fell in one of the pools and he turned into an ice cube. And honestly, I think, I'm not sure. We probably would have to go back to Intergalactic's actual post. But Sir Dork these days has been kind of championing themes for, I don't know, like a week or a month to have people join in and take pictures of, and then join his live stream on his YouTube. And I believe his current theme is ice. So I've seen a lot of shots popping up where photographers are incorporating ice into their shots. And I believe that's what Raptor's going with right here.
It is the Sir Dork Ice Challenge.
There you go.
So, see? Awesome stuff.
What do I know about toy photography in the community? Not much. I'm new.
Nothing
here,
much
Nick.
at all.
I don't know. I've heard it's like
Star
this new
Wars
art
Newsnet.
form. Yeah, it's this new art
they
form.
They know. They're the experts, right?
It's not even that. It's some other IG. Like I don't want to yell about them, but they picked one of their hosts to be the moderator. So whatever. I don't want to open up old wounds with SWNN.
But beautiful work here at Intergalactic _Raptor. This one in particular is a 3-shot feature, so you can scroll through.
I've been flipping through them on the stream so everyone can see it, but it's fucking hilarious. You could. I mean, these are the type of hijinks that Grogu gets himself into.
I know, right?
We got another good one, and this is why. Hey, join the Discord if you're not on it. We have an open link in our Instagram profile, but someone shared an alternate edit of Grogu's window tapping scene from the end of Book of Boba Fett, where his tapping gets too aggressive and he cracks the glass, and they just see him go Woo! Like he just gets sucked out into space.
Just sucked out into space.
And then Mando's like, he looks behind him and he's like, oh shit, and he hits the the go fast button and disappears.
Oh damn.
You gotta love some Star Wars fans and the shit they make. Okay.
Hey man, I love the brains on those Star Wars people. All right, next up, we have another fun shot here from at Pepito Carnval, CARNVALJ on the Instagram. And what we see is a couple of First Order troopers and Captain Phasma. It seems like a roasted Captain Phasma almost. Because her armor is definitely singed and scorched. If it is her.
He may be mixing generations of troopers in here, Nick. Yeah. That may be like a Minbon or just a weathered regular Buckethead. But either way, they're all trying. They're doing something a lot of us kids that grew up in the 70s and 80s used to love to do when you go to a store with your parent. All right, everyone knows these dispensers, either a gumball
like the
dispenser
gumball machines,
or like you get the little knick-knacky toys in these things. You're like, Mom, give me 50 cents. Oh, this one's $1. You turn it and it's kind of a blind draw. But that's what we're getting here in this shot. They've got one of these gumball machines, which is in turn loaded with, I believe, Star Wars Micro Machine characters. So then you have these other figures of 1/12 scale, like they're trying to get the best figure out of the gumball machine.
Like he sees the what you call it? He sees the Hoth Rebel pilot Luke in there, and he's like trying to reach his hand in there and get it.
Couple more quarters, it might fall. It might fall.
Yeah, come on, we gotta get it. We gotta get it. So yeah, I mean, I thought that this was super fun idea, absolutely well executed. Just seeing like the other troopers, like one of them scratches his head, like, "What the fuck is this guy doing?"
Yeah,
and the other guy's literally like face palming, and he's like, "Come on, man, we got to get out of here."
There you go, Trevor hit it. That was a big one for me. The football helmets in these machines, because I definitely had, even back then, a bug up my ass about getting the full collection. 100%. Trevor knows exactly what I'm talking about.
You were a collector from day one.
They've kind of disappeared though, right? Or they're full of like rotten candy these days, because not many people use these anymore. I mean, a lot of people just shop online. It's like you roll up
to bowling alleys.
Yeah, there you go. Bowling alleys have them.
Shit doesn't even like come out, or like it's like gum that's like solid as a rock.
The Mike and Ikes have turned into jawbreakers. They're no longer chewy candy. So I believe Pepito has done another one. It's been featured before, but it was very similar, like a creative, humorous type of setup. So, just great stuff. Like you said, it's the minds sometimes. It's the minds of these artists and what they think to create with these toys. It's just brilliant.
Beautiful minds. So at Pepito Carnvalge on the IG. Speaking of beautiful minds, we have one here. You know him. You probably love him. I mean, he's an okay guy. But we have that.
He's an okay guy.
He's an okay guy.
We like him. We tolerate him in these parts.
Yeah, we put up with him. At 16_shooter
there he
on
is.
The top 5. And Matt teased this one earlier in the show. He's got a fantastic shot featuring this beautiful HasLab Razor Crest we see. And what the shot is kind of like a side perspective shot. You're on the left side of the Razor Crest, looking straight down the opening hatch as Mando and little Grogu come up, and this is when Grogu's still on the floating bassinet, and you see in the background the twin sons of Tatooine casting this amazing gold glow over the entire picture. I mean, Trevor is a professional. Trevor is, one of the tops of this art form and this profession, and like shot like this kind of really highlights his strong points and what puts him at the top of the game. Yeah,
it's like I said earlier. I mean, the Razor Crest to me is meant to be shot outside. It's that big of a piece, but there have been some artists that have pulled off doing the inside shoots, and that's 16_shooter. I mean, the guy. All this is practical, by the way. Like that background, it's either digi or a painting, lays down the sand, the rocks, all that fun stuff. And then obviously just, expertly matching the lighting to the environment that Trevor's creating here. And it puts the back ass of the Razor Crest is the main subject, the way Trevor kind of had the perspective and the focus going on here. But having the figures in the background, getting some of that force perspective going on, really rounds out the setup quite nicely.
Yeah, I mean, it's an awesome shot, showing off a lot of different aspects of toy photography and a lot of different things that Trevor is really known for.
Yeah, what are you saying? Well, Matt doesn't what I do now, or what did
I was saying that we kind of love him, and he's like, well, Matt doesn't kind of love me.
See, that's why I didn't want to talk about that toy photography panel. It's not the photographers. I get it. Unless they're the ones running this Star Wars fan create page, and then you guys can all go pound salt, you shitheads. But it's not. It's not. It was just the fact that it's funny. Somehow toy photography is a big thing with other Star Wars sites and fans now, and whatever. You just rewind the show if you missed it. I'm
We're
not getting
just
back into
playing
it.
with you. He knows. He knows.
Yeah,
But-
Trevor knows. He just likes to he likes to tweak my tits a little bit, like some other fans in the live stream.
Very true. At 16_shooter on the Instagram. If you're not already following him, make sure you do for excellent shots.
Could be a panelist at Star Wars Celebration.
Could be. Celebration. All right. The final one here for the top 5 this week. This is from at Zoomed Toys. And what we have is a fantastic Kenobi poster, but Kenobi is Lego Kenobi. And this is this a custom Lego Kenobi? Do you know if off the top of your head?
It has to be. I mean, it has to be because obviously you wouldn't have any production ones out yet. And I don't know if it's Firestar or Firestarter Toys. I think they're UK based, but dude, they cook up some amazing custom Lego minifigs. I don't know if that's where this one comes from or if it's just a mash from another set. But yeah, I don't know. I love Lego Star Wars photography. They don't usually do as well on our page as just pure toy photography, but to me, it's one of my favorite forms of the art form. Trevor, this is another avenue he used to dabble in with the Legos. Brick Panda 82 or 92, they're one of the best. I mean, their shit looks like screenshots from video games. But it's just, maybe it's from the Lego Star Wars games of years past. They just work. Legos just work well to me in the Star Wars universe. And this Kenobi poster is a beautiful example of how these little teeny weeny minifigs can kind of really stand out in a shot here.
100%. I mean, the shot itself looks, like dead on to the Kenobi poster. Just substitute Ewan for Lego Ewan. Does a really great job of doing that. And yeah, I mean, when you can take, little figures that are an inch tall, maybe. And make them look alive and give them feeling and give them, put awesome backgrounds behind them that makes it feel like they're a part of the living Star Wars universe. It's always fun. And yeah, Brick Panda, 079, all the numbers. Ray.
Just remember awesome Ray at the end there.
Yeah, Tong Wars and all of them. Like, there's so many great Star Wars Lego photographers out there, and seeing stuff like this, poster recreations or seeing recreations made with Legos, it's always a pleasure. And at Zoom Toys really killed this one. So well done. That's the end of the top 5. And look at that. That's the end of the show. So Matt, why don't you take us home? That,
there's no more time for Star Wars time. But we know that's not true. There's always time for Star Wars time. That's why we ask you to always be talking about that show with the 2 guys and the one that's really angry. Okay? And when you talk about it, we make the pitch easy. Just tell them StarWarsTime.net. I know that .net doesn't kind of roll off the tongue. It's not very natural, but we lost out on the .com to some chewing tobacco site. Yes, I speak the truth. One of these days I'm going to have to check to see if .com is ever available, but it doesn't matter because these days we live at StarWarsTime.net, and the reason you want to memorize that address is because it's the easiest way to tell new fans or existing fans who have forgotten how to subscribe to the show. So if you head on over to StarWarsTime.net, we got a nice little subscribe to podcast button. We've got all the jump off points. You can go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Deezer, RSS feeds. We got them all. We've got you taken care of if you like to listen to just the words and shit. If you like to see the words and shit, well, then you can also go to StarWarsTime.net, scroll down a little bit further on the site. Over there in the sidebar, you're going to get a nice handy-dandy subscribe to Star Wars Time on YouTube button. You just press it. It automatically subscribes you. The only thing you have to remember to do is to check those notifications. And why? Well, we tend to put out at least 1 or 2 YouTube videos a week. We don't just do the show. We aren't just a feature page, all right? We do have our own content, even though there is a lot of other artist content on our Instagram. So yeah, Star Wars Time on YouTube, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show is another way to find us. Because in the end, like I said, there's always time for Star Wars time, even when there's not an active show or movie in the Star Wars verse to discuss. We can do it. We do it every week. We bring the hot takes, the bad takes, the smelly takes, you name it. You never know what you're going to get on an episode of the Star Wars Time Show, and I think that is something you can take to the bank. We've got great fans, so join them. I mean, Johnny, I forgot this one. Johnny Osage, Nick. I think I sent it to Slack. Did you see that?
I saw it. Yeah.
He drew a rendition of how I closed the show last week when I said Nick's gonna go get his Matt Voodoo doll and stab him in his penis.
It was so funny.
It was awesome.
Man.
I loved it. I was like, and that's why I do this show. It's that stuff right there. The fact that there's a human out there that likes what we were talking about so much, and it made him laugh to the point where he wanted to draw it and bring it to life. That's why we do what we do. And before I say goodbye, there's a special guest behind me. I can sense her presence through the Force. Hey there.
Hey, Dad.
You getting ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you swim well, and I'll see you, and I'll have some dinner ready, okay? All right. Okay. It's always good to be a dad. All right, so back to the end here. StarWarsTime.net. You know what to do, Johnny. You know what to do. There's always time for Star Wars Time. And remember, if you listen to the Star Wars Time show, the Force will be with you. Always.